It's time for Twig This Week in Google. Paris Martineau's here, Jeff Jarvis, Ant Pruitt. Paris just finished a 4,000-word piece for The Information about what happened at OpenAI. We'll get her insights. Who were the winners? Who were the losers? And what happens next? We'll also talk about Elon Musk's frivolous lawsuit against Media Matters. And how have they changed Google Maps and why? It's all coming up next on This Week in Google.
Podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is Twit.
This is Twig, This Week in Google, episode 743, recorded Wednesday, November 22nd, 2023. Competitive Pantomime. This Week in Google is brought to you by Secure My Email. Secure My Email provides easy encryption for your current personal and business email addresses. Setup only takes minutes. Start your free account or enjoy a 30-day free trial of a premium plan. No payment info required. And there's a special offer for Twit listeners. Visit securemyemail.com/twit and use the code TWIT at checkout. And by Discourse, the online home for your community. Discourse makes it easy to have meaningful conversations and collaborate anytime, anywhere. Visit discourse.org/twit to get 1 month free on all self-serve plans. And by Vanta. Automate compliance and streamline security reviews with the leading trust management platform. Join 6,000 fast-growing companies like Chili Piper, Patch, and Autodesk that use Vanta to manage risk and prove security in real time. You can try Vanta free for 7 days by going to vanta.com/twig. No costs, no obligation. It's time for Twig This Week in Google, a show that's about everything but Google this week. No Google, all OpenAI. Sorry, kids. Actually, I'm open to new names for this show. Jeff Jarvis is here. He's been with us since it began This Week in Google.
You could name it after me. Jeff's show.
Jeff's show. It's time for Jeff's show.
This Week in Jeff.
The Leonard Tao Professor, ladies and gentlemen. I give you the Leonard Tao Professor for Journalistic Innovation at the Craig Newmark Graduate School of Journalism at the City University of New York. Hello, Jeff.
For a few weeks more.
He's deorbiting, but he's still there. He is at gutenbergparenthesis.com. That's where his books are. I say books because the new magazine book came out, too. Yes. Can I get it at the same place, gutenbergparenthesis.com?
Yes, you can. You got a discount there, 20%
nice.
off.
All right. Hello, Jeff.
It's short, Leo. It's short.
Ant Pruitt is to my left. Mr. Pruitt, of course, the community manager and Club Twit, producer of many shows, a great photographer, great friend. Hello, Ant.
Hello, sir.
And I see you're wearing your special super sneakers, your Adams, your MKBHD model.
Can't fit it in.
You know why I knew he was wearing those?
His thigh is just too big to bend.
Earlier
Can't fit it into the frame.
This afternoon, just before the show began, he tripped over a mic wire, which is a real hazard around here. And you made the most graceful plie and got out of it. And I think it was the Adams.
The shoes help, but also being a Pruitt helps too.
Being a Pruitt, so he's a natural. And all the way from beautiful Florida, the nation's capital, Paris Martineau of The Information.
All things trend towards Florida.
Everything's moving that way.
The South's capital,
including Paris. You're visiting family for Thanksgiving?
I am, yeah.
Nice.
I'm down
so
here.
glad.
They apparently allow you to podcast here now, which is good.
Oh, that's great.
I was worried they could stop me at a TSA, but luckily I snuck this mic in.
You know, it's funny. When I was flying to Rhode Island to visit my mom, I got pulled off the line. And the guy looks at me and he says, "You got a microphone in here?" And I said, "Yes." I do.
Are you happy to see me?
I said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, how did you know?" I said, "That was very impressive." He said, "I still have to check it." But I guess he somehow could tell. So
I was going to make a joke that he was going to pull you off the line and be like, "Are you a podcaster?"
Well,
it was
almost
what he said.
It's what he said, kind of. It's like, that's a microphone, isn't it? Yeah.
Why would you have a microphone? Why? Who do you think you are? You have a microphone.
Yeah.
Jeez.
I brought a whole kit so I could broadcast, as you know, from Mom's house. I left it there so I won't have to go through that horrendous strip search again. When he said in there, he didn't mean in my suitcase, by the way. Let's not go any farther. So I'm gallivanting about over the weekend. Thank you, Paris, for being on Twit. It was great to have you.
Happy to do it for the troops.
With Devendra Hardawar and Alex Lindsay. It was a great show.
Anthony Ha.
And the funny thing is, there was big news, and here I am in gallivanting. And but the funny thing, maybe people didn't notice, is I was in the same town as Sam Altman on Friday.
Oh, really?
He was there for the race. He was in Vegas for the race as well. Got a call at 12 noon. He got a text from Ilya Sutskever, who is the chief scientist at OpenAI, saying, Sam board would like to meet with you at noon. Here's the Google Meet. I think it's hysterical they use Google Meet. Like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway,
Ridiculous.
What? Are you kidding me? Anyway, he gets on the Google Meet. Within 5 minutes, you're fired, Sam. You're out of here. Greg Brockman, who's the chairman of the board, wasn't at this meeting, fired also.
Demoted.
Removed from chairman of the board.
And then quit.
He retained his position as president and then quit within a few hours.
And basically said, I'm loyal to Sam, and I'm going with him. Ilya Sutskever is one of the founders of OpenAI, but also more importantly, came to OpenAI from his research fellowship. It was at MIT with Jeffrey Hinton. So he's a premier AI scientist. And we learned since then that he was also a deep believer, a true believer in AGI, artificial general intelligence.
Well, they all believe in AGI. He also believes in effective altruism.
Yeah.
They all believe that they can make AGI and be all powerful.
I actually wrote an opening statement for this show in which I explain exactly what happened. Would you like me to read it?
Let's hear it, sir.
I put it up on our community. The board, in my opinion, was doing its job as least as far as the nonprofit was concerned. OpenAI is a 501c3 nonprofit.
Mm-hmm. Part of it is, right?
Well, the problem is OpenAI is really two companies. In fact, Ben Thompson, in his Stratechery column, had the ever-changing MO of OpenAI. When you apply for a nonprofit, you have to write a little thing in the form. It asks, the government asks you to briefly describe the organization's mission or most significant activities. In the first filing in 2016, they wrote, as they're applying for the 501c3, OpenAI's goal is to advance digital intelligence in the way that is most likely to benefit humanity as a whole. Really important clause here. Unconstrained by a need to generate financial return. We think artificial intelligence technology will help shape the 21st century, and we want to help the world build a safe, underscore that, AI technology and ensure that AI's benefits are as widely and evenly distributed as possible. We're trying to build an AI as part of a larger community. We want to openly share our plans and capabilities along the way. Now, this is when Elon Musk, Sam Altman, and a few others were starting OpenAI. And that was the mission at first. And that's why they wanted to be a nonprofit, is they didn't want big tech, chiefly Google, to get AI first, to own AI. Because I think if you believe in AGI, then your concern is that once AGI basically means an AI is able to reason as well as a human, or better. Actually, if they can reason as well as a human, they will soon be able to reason better than a human, because the development will then suddenly explode. And at that point, all value disappears from big tech. All value disappears from the world. Everything changes dramatically. I'm not saying AGI will take over the world, but everything changes dramatically. And so they want to make sure that was done in a safe way, in a fair way, right?
But then they got in bed with Microsoft?
Well, wait a minute. I think that, by the way, is honorable. And this is
But let me just, a lot of this is predicated on TESCREAL.
I understand.
Long-termism, effective altruism. So each side has their own brand of nuttiness.
It's effective altruism, but before you even get to that, you have to buy into the idea that there is an AGI coming soon, right?
Okay.
that there's going to be
right. They believe that.
They all believe that, and you have to believe that. And if you believe that, I think it's honorable to say, Jesus, this could change everything. So we want to try to make this equitable.
Okay. Point.
I think that's completely honorable, and that was the goal.
All right. 2
years later, the part that said openly share plans was gone. They closed it off. This, by the way, this is 2018. That's when Elon split.
That's when he left, right?
Dudes, that's not what we started this about. But Sam Altman stayed. Sutskever stayed. 3 years after that, they changed the goal of advancing digital intelligence to, and this is also important, building general purpose artificial intelligence, AGI. They specifically said, our goal now is to build an AGI. So,
what year was that?
That was let's see. So they applied in 2015. I'm sorry, 2016. 2018, the split with Elon. 2021, they said we're going to go after AGI. So what really happened, and to continue on with my thesis, what really happened is you had two companies. You had a nonprofit that wanted it to be safe. But they quickly realized, and by 2021 realized, this is going to cost so damn much money. We have to have a for-profit arm.
We need some money
to finance this because ChatGPT is burning money.
$1 billion wasn't nearly enough.
Yeah.
I think they said like 100 billion.
Yeah. It's hugely expensive. So by the time we get to this board meeting, there's 6 board members. By the way, that changed over time, but there's 6 board members. There's the chairman, Greg Brockman. There's the president, the CEO, Sam Altman. There's the chief scientist, Ilya Sutskever. And then there are, that's 3 others that are, and by the way, nobody has shares. None of these people, that's intentional. They don't want them to have any profit motive at all, right? It's supposed to be nonprofit. And you guys are not going to benefit. Altman doesn't have shares. Brockman doesn't have shares. Sutskever doesn't have shares.
I believe Brockman does have shares.
Really?
Yeah, because there's shares in it from Wright Paris from there's an investment in there from, what was his prior employer he got fired from?
So he brought, well, anyway. Okay, so he has a dog in this hunt.
He has some shares indirectly.
Yeah, but Altman we know does not, and Sutskever does not.
Yes.
And then there were 3 board members who were really from well, one was weirdly from Quora, the founder of Quora. That was a little weird. Quora has its own AI, by the way, called Poe. So I don't know about him. But the other 2 women were researchers and scientists, experts in the field, and clearly were on the board to represent that nonprofit safe contingent. So I think you had a 3-3 split on the board. You had Sutskever, Brockman, and Altman, and then you had this the kind of the science folks, and there was a balance.
/EA people.
But the New York Times reported today there's been tension for years between these 2 groups, and what happened, I believe, and by the way, great reporting from The Information, and I know that you're up on this, Paris, so throw in anything you have to say about this. But what I think happened was Ilya Sutskever, who was initially on the 3 with Altman and Brockman, changed sides. He's a chief scientist. It was reported a year ago at the Christmas party, getting everybody to chant, "Feel the AGI, feel the AGI." He's a true believer in artificial general intelligence.
Okay.
He switched sides, and I think what happened is, he's an academic, remember? He's not a business person. I think he got scared and said, you know what? Sam, and maybe Greg too, but for sure Sam is commercializing this. We're losing control of it. We're losing the safety angle. We got to do something. He went, now by switching over, now it's 4 against 2. And the 4 deposed the 2, basically. And incidentally, the thing that I saw so much about was, oh my God, they've destroyed so much value. Microsoft stock plummets. The investors are crazy. The whole focus was, I listened in to Jason Calacanis and David Sachs talking about this. And David Sachs says,
Jesus.
well, as know, Adams, I had to, right? I had to find out.
What you do for the show.
For the show, I did it. He says, as you know, Adam Smith said, you can only trust a capitalist because you know his motive is profit. You don't. The butcher doesn't cut meat because he's an altruist. He cuts meat because that's how he makes a living. And you can trust him because he wouldn't make a living if he didn't do the job right and cheated you and all this stuff. The only way to trust a business is to have them have a for-profit motive. And honestly, I think that's the group that was most upset by this because the board, who really, they didn't care that the stock market hadn't closed. They didn't care that they were going to lose the staff. They wanted to stop it in its tracks because it was going in an unsafe direction. That's my opinion.
They didn't have any skin in the game, though, right? The board.
Yeah, but they shouldn't have because their job
in that
was
structure.
That is the setup.
That's the setup. They shouldn't have because they're there to protect us again. And if you believe in AGI, this is the big thing. Remember what Sam Altman's, and by the way, Sam had other businesses, including, remember that orb that you do your iris in? And that was really about a cryptocurrency called WorldCoin.
That was him?
Yes. That was a cryptocurrency called WorldCoin. And the real purpose of WorldCoin was universal basic income.
Yeah.
Because he believed AGI was coming, everybody was going to be out of work. So we got to make sure we have universal basic income.
The hubris of these guys is just
that's the Tescriel
awe-inspiring. It is.
He also was going to the Saudi sovereign fund. He was raising money with Sun at SoftBank for a special AI device to be designed by Johnny Ive. He had all these, but this is, by the way.
He's also invested in all of your pins, your rewind AI, your humane AI as well. I mean, I think something that's important here is in the weeks leading up to when he got ousted, there was kind of a conflict in the board because one of the three people kind of on the research side, as you described it, Helen Toner, one of the board members, had co-authored this paper that kind of, it was about AI safety.
It was fully
criticized.
Snotty.
Yeah, it's criticized OpenAI and basically said Anthropic and some of the competitors are doing it right and we're not. And Sam Altman really didn't like that. He started advocating behind the scenes for the other board members to vote her out. So maybe that was the inciting incident for Sutskever switching. Yeah,
Natasha Mascarenhas, your colleague, has the story in the information and says Altman was very upset.
Paris has the TikTok of all of this brilliantly out before
That's from Sunday, right?
No, but she has.
Oh, you did another one?
I wrote something that came out today that is a minute by minute kind of playthrough.
Oh, what am I talking for? Really? Let's just go to the TikTok.
So it's line. I moved it up. In fact,
let's go to Paris's explanation.
Line 69.
How long?
Brilliant TikTok, not TikTok like the platform, TikTok like we used to say in journalism, like a clock.
Oh, I thought it was a TikTok.
No, it's not a TikTok.
I was about to play a TikTok.
Tiktok. It is a 4,000 word article.
You have the big
journalism people.
These are the articles Paris said last week that you have a whole month to write. Obviously, you did not have a month to write this 4,000 words.
No, I luckily got to put that other thing aside, and me and my colleague Julia Black went into overdrive mode starting on Monday.
I'm going to shut up.
Together.
I had no idea.
Brilliantly done.
I mean, it, like you said, this all kind of led to this breaking point where on Friday, Sam was ousted and then Greg Brockman, the president, followed. And then everything kind of went to crap.
You start your lead in the piece is the APEC talk that Sam Altman gave with Laurene Powell Steve Jobs' widow, in which he says, we don't need heavy regulation. The current models are fine. We don't need heavy regulation here, probably not for the next couple of generations. Although they're doing generations every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I think he ends up going on to say like, maybe when AI and the models get to the point where they can do the output of a whole company or a whole country or the whole world, then we could have a collective discussion about kind of how to look over that. But I thought it was kind of telling that what ended up happening, 6 or so hours before he received a text inviting him to what ended up being the meeting where he was fired. Here he is talking about his kind of hands-off approach to safety and to who else but Laurene Powell Jobs, widow of Steve Jobs, who was once kicked out by his own board only to return to lead it.
Yeah.
It's a little on the nose.
So
I have to say, Leo, real quickly, I give Paris huge benefit points here, bonus points for getting in defenestration.
it's a good word.
That's
Thank
just
you.
And
That's
he
a
was-
great word.
He
It's a
was
great
from
word.
the Latin fenestere,
defenestrated.
meaning window, thrown
Yes.
from the window. So
And as in Prague, he landed on some garbage and survived.
Yep. A real John Wick 4.
So Paris, do you feel like that's my characterization is accurate, that there were these not only two companies, but two factions on the board, and Ilya defected to the faction that fired him. And it's my contention that they did what they were supposed to do, that they were not concerned about profit. They were not concerned about maintaining the company. They were concerned about safety and the company living up to its mission of being AI for good. Do you think that's a fair characterization?
I think it's really difficult to say with any certainty right now what transpired with the board, because the board members, like the two women of which have now been kicked off the board, they've all been kind of tight-lipped about it throughout this whole process. They hadn't even really talked inside the company about what happened behind the scenes. I think that your analysis of this is a good interpretation of it and seems really likely, but we're not going to be, I think, 100% certain as to what went down and what the specific tipping point was until
the court
one
cases.
of them speaks. Yeah.
Yeah. By the way, with Altman going back, and I think everybody knows that the latest thing is that it looks like everybody's going back, not going to Microsoft. Sutskever, Brockman. Sutskever
Yes.
tweeted, "I love you guys." He changed his tune.
That's what I was going to ask. This sounds.
He
sorta
come-
If these are the
Tasty.
people in charge of the future,
Yeah.
Jesus, they can't get through a weekend.
Yeah. So by I think like Sunday, Sutskever had totally flipped. It was, I think, like 5:15 or something in the morning, either like Sunday or Monday. He ends up tweeting out 5:15 in the morning, like West Coast time, even tweets out like, "I'm so sorry, I made a mistake. Actually, Sam is great.
Yeah, who got
he needs
to
to be
him?
back at the company."
Who got to him?
Apparently who got to him is Brockman, the president and former executive chairman of the board. His wife made an emotional plea to him in the headquarters of OpenAI and cried, begging him to not turn on Sam. And that's what did it.
Oh, that's really
My favorite thing about your story, Paris, is obviously, and I can't imagine that Jessica thought that we were going to have reporters out stooping people as New York Daily News people do, mafia people, right? And so there's obviously reporters from the information at all these locations counting pizza boxes coming out and things going in. And it's just amazing to watch the drama unfold.
Yeah, we have had a Slack channel, obviously, as we're doing all the reporting and stuff for this, and it was really incredible. One, to just watch all of my colleagues do this like great reporting, but two, I mean, I think on what it was like Saturday or maybe Friday, someone messages the group like, "Oh, I'm hearing there's people gathering outside of Sam Altman's place," and one of the reporters is like, "I live 0.3 miles away," and everyone's like, "Go, go!" And it was raining. She's like, "I don't have an umbrella," but she just
Breaking
ran
news.
there and was outside until like midnight when someone came to relieve her. And we'd had people staged outside of Altman's house and then OpenAI for a while. And I think it took until the next day for some of the other outlets like the Times and the Journal to send people there.
I think the fact
got some really good color.
that Helen Toner hasn't said anything to me. Again, we're reading tea leaves because we don't know, but to me is reflective of the integrity. Like the easiest thing for them to do would be to say, "Well, let me tell you what was going on," but they didn't. And I think that honestly, I feel like the board acted as a nonprofit board should, and with great integrity, even in the face of a lot of,
Egg on face?
no, there's no egg on their face. They did exactly what they meant to do, and they did it right. But you're looking at it, and as everybody else is, from this capitalist point of view of, look at the value you destroyed. That's not what they're thinking about. Here's Ilya's tweet from 5:15 Monday morning. "I deeply regret my participation in the board's actions. I never intended to harm OpenAI. I love everything we've built together, and I will do everything I can to reunite the company." Obviously, after being harangued by Brockman's wife. Elon Musk's reply to that is interesting. Remember, Elon left the company, split off, and took his money back.
He helped found it, yeah.
He founded it, but he left when he said, "You guys are not doing the safety part. You're not doing the open part." Elon responded to Sutskever, if OpenAI is doing something potentially dangerous to humanity, the world needs to know.
Well said, Elon Musk.
I will say this is the only time I will have to hand it to Elon Musk, but I do think he gets at a point here, which is important, which is if your interpretation of this is correct, Leo, which I think it's possible it is, why didn't the board communicate their position in any way
to the outside
anyone?
World, you mean? I mean,
to the outside world
this had been
or
going
to
on
senior leaders or anyone.
I think all year there's been this fight going on. I think there's a lot of evidence that tension and fight, that they had, in fact, communicated all this.
Okay.
Well, no, I mean, but the issue is they had this all hands meeting at like 2 p.m. Friday after they'd announced that Altman was out. They didn't really give any detail specifically on why he'd been ousted, other than kind of they hadn't been candid in his communications to the board. After this all hands, a bunch of senior leaders and executives at OpenAI kind of corner the board in a Zoom call, and they're like, you need to give us more detail. This isn't acceptable. Like, what are you talking about? Can you give us any specific instances, any examples? We've got to figure out something to tell people. And they wouldn't say anything. They said, they eventually, I think, cited legal reasons and said, we can't offer any more specifics.
So Paris, I think there's an every piece that goes into all of Altman's deals, and you listed most of them before. He also was going to start a chip company, and these were things for his benefit, where he could have personally been benefiting on the back of OpenAI.
Okay.
And in a normal business contract with a CEO, unless you're Jack Dorsey or Elon Musk, you would say when you create these things here, they are part of the company and they go to the benefit of the shareholders, whoever that may be.
Right.
But instead, Altman was doing all these other things. And there's also, they're going to have an investigation of this, and you can view that as Sam's side or the board's side, either way.
Well, it's Sam demanding it, isn't it? Or is
I
it's
think
the board?
it was also Sam agreed to it.
Okay.
Is the way it's put down.
Yeah, because the impression
here
that some people got and I got, and there's reasons for this, his sudden departure from Y Combinator. It said that he was doing the same thing at Y Combinator, and that Paul Graham had to fly over and fire him because he was, doing so many side dealings to his own benefit. There's also, and I hate to bring this up, but there's some stuff about his sister, some accusations from Sam Altman's sister about when they were kids. And so it's not unusual. It wouldn't be unreasonable to say, is there malfeasance here? Yeah. What did they mean when he said he wasn't honest with us? And I think it's reasonable to ask that question.
Okay.
And so I understand that.
It could be about deals. It could be about the cult stuff. I mean, the thing is,
we don't know if it's a Me Too thing. I mean, so many CEOs have been fired for Me Too things.
But here's where
the board
it's so hard,
is saying now that there was the COO said there's no malfeasance. So to take that out of your mind.
What's so hard here, Leo, is that it's like a religion, because you have to buy the punchline to buy the joke.
I think so, yes.
If you really believe that AGI can exist, and I think that is pure BS, number one, I don't think it's going to exist, then you go to the next phase, which is you believe AGI could destroy humankind, which I also think is BS, which means C, if you are, we talked about this on AI Inside, if you really think this is a danger, then the really crazies, what's his name, Eliezer Yudkowsky, who wrote in Time magazine, thinks that you should have thermonuclear war to destroy the machines because it's that dangerous. So you got a crazy
somebody who's watched the Terminator
hero sandwich here.
Many times.
You're going real wacky. So to say that the board, to say that either side is right, you've got to buy into their worldview, and their worldview is wacky.
Well, let me since I argued
such a mess.
I argued in empathy with the board. Let me argue in empathy with Sam Altman. Sam Altman gets the bills and sees how expensive this is.
Yep.
Yeah.
And says, this isn't a nonprofit. It can't be a nonprofit if we want to achieve our goal. We need to do a deal with Microsoft because we got to get this Azure credits. Mm-hmm. Started with $1 billion, went to another $12 billion in Azure credits. Now suddenly Microsoft has a big stake. Did your reporting talk about Satya Nadella's reaction to this, Paris?
Well, I mean, Satya, much like everyone else, only found out 5 or 10 minutes before the news went public. I think it's really interesting It seems from a lot of the reporting my colleagues have done over the weekend, and this is in the story as well, that Satya Nadella was really personally involved in advocating for Sam Altman's return as CEO.
Yeah.
He has a very close personal relationship with Altman, and he was kind of acting as the go-between for a lot of the other investors, like Khosla, Sequoia, and others. They were talking to Microsoft and being like, Microsoft, or Satya in this case specifically, put pressure on the board to get Altman back.
So I guess
And-
that job offer was never official from Nadella to Altman.
It was
I mean, it was
play.
official, and then he immediately went on, I think, CNBC or
because
something.
it seemed like it came out like a
kinda
press
walked it
release,
down.
like he was hired.
He did
you
this
know?
great media tour, sudden media tour
Yeah.
with Emily Chang on Bloomberg, and then or CNBC, and then Bloomberg, and then Kara Swisher, and said essentially the same thing on all three. I just love Sam Altman. I just love OpenAI, and we just want to work this out. And
I think your story said, Paris, that he said outright, I'll be fine either way,
Yep.
as long as Sam.
Yeah, because
He
he
walked
owns
it back,
49.
basically.
He owns 49, or Microsoft owns
Microsoft
49%
does,
of OpenAI. Interestingly, and I wonder if they'll have a new charter, and maybe we'll stop being a 501c3, because one of the stipulations is if they achieve OpenAI, AGI rather, no one gets a share. Microsoft doesn't get it if they get AGI.
Yeah, I mean, I think something that's worth, I guess, breaking down a little bit for the listeners is like the structure of it is OpenAI is a nonprofit. There's this for-profit entity inside of it, and profits are capped for investors. I'm forgetting the exact structure of it, but during this period where they don't have AGI, the investors and people like Microsoft can get profit based on OpenAI's like earnings. But once you hit AGI, it all goes away.
Yeah. They make $1 billion a year now, but their burn rate, I'm sure, is much more than that.
Oh, it's got to be crazy.
It's moderated by the fact that Microsoft gave them a lot of the $13 billion is Azure credits.
It's in kind.
And it's, by the way, a big win for Microsoft, because as far as we can tell, and we were talking about this on Windows Weekly, before Microsoft came in with that $1 billion, they were not using Azure. So so Microsoft gets a big win out of this no matter what happens. That's, I guess, the point. And
Leo,
that's what Satya
on
was
line
saying.
75, Yahoo Finance has a great chart of the structure here, which goes even more into what you were saying.
Let's see here. Oh, you know what this comes from? This is their re-rendition of the 501c3
Right. Yeah.
application.
Yeah, so it's kind of fascinating what a
It's cuckoo.
if you describe it, at the top is a board of directors. It controls OpenAI, the 501c3, which wholly owns OpenAI GP LLC, which controls the holding company of OpenAI nonprofit and OpenAI Global LLC. The OpenAI 501c3 owns the holding company. Then the employees and investors own part of the holding company. And then Microsoft owns parts of OpenAI Global LLC. And it's all a weird, it's a mess.
That is a mess.
Some say that that's the source of this problem, that if they hadn't created such a strange corporate structure, it's my sense that my guess is they wanted to make it a nonprofit, but they had to have a profit-making arm just to fund it. You know, no, and so that was.
Is it as simple as just dropping the nonprofit for 2024?
I think it's pretty clear. I don't know, Paris, but I think it's pretty clear that what will happen now is it'll no longer be a nonprofit, right?
I'm not sure if that's clear or not. I think that you'd have to change an aspect of the charter. I mean, part of what I had assumed was a lot of these investors, one of their motivations maybe for wanting Sam Altman back, in addition to just liking him, is then you replace the board and perhaps that could change the structure of it. But I think it would have to be, you would need a lot of buy-in in order to totally change the company's structure. And you'd have to rewrite the charter and whatnot.
Oh, yeah.
Here's a little
and going
bit
from
clearer
the
version.
story about that too, about trying to switch from not-for-profit to for-profit is very complex because you can't have a mingling.
Yeah, but what if
Right.
you dissolved the company?
Yeah.
And then miraculously
could.
5 days later,
Well,
created
Thrive is
a new
coming
company.
in. Thrive is coming in and is going to be doing an $86 billion valuation buying employees' stock.
Thrive is one
Yeah,
of the biggest
and
big
that
investors.
is And that is a thing that a lot of employees were really worried about. And I bet is part of the reason why so many ended up signing into this open letter over the weekend. Almost every OpenAI employee signed this letter saying we'll quit if Altman isn't reinstated.
Here's the thing that
part of it
puzzles me.
was that they thought this secondary share sale, a tender offer, wouldn't go through.
They wanted the money.
Right.
But this is what puzzles me, because say you're a hotshot AI researcher, you can write your own ticket with a lot of different companies. I mean, you can make more than $1 million a year with any number of companies. You go to OpenAI, it seems to me you go to OpenAI, maybe even with the promise of less money because you believe in this mission.
No, you're getting, I think the average, the average software engineer at OpenAI is getting $1 million a year.
They're making good money. And they believe in the mission.
Yeah.
And
So
there's
that's
equity.
what's puzzling to me.
Yeah.
So
And there's equity.
So they could go to
Cash
Microsoft
out now.
Yeah. Okay. But at the
Yeah,
same time,
they're not angels, Leo. They're not angels.
Okay,
They
so
don't-
they're-
they have no halos over their heads.
okay. So they're there because of the money,
They're
not
geeks.
not because they believe
I mean,
in the
I'd say
mission.
probably both.
Yeah.
There can be both.
They're also cultists.
They could make that kind of money probably anywhere, right? But they chose OpenAI.
Not a million
Oh yeah.
annually. Really?
Oh yeah. That's what's amazing.
Damn.
I don't know. I mean,
Elon was
I know
offering
someone.
remember he started 42, his own AI company. He was offering, I think, stock and salary worth $11 million a year, as I remember. So, there's good money
If
in
you
this.
believe in Elon's stock, but
Yeah, well, so far so good on Elon stock, by the way. There's good money in this. And so I think that these people are at OpenAI because they believe in the mission. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
Here's the other thing, Leo. There's no definition of AGI. I was at this conference in San Francisco last week, a World Economic Forum AI Governance Summit, and Gary Marcus was there, and he talked about how he tried to get Elon to agree to a long bet on AGI. Elon has said, we'll get to AGI in 2029. And Gary Marcus said, okay, I'll bet you $100,000, but let's define it. And of course, Elon wouldn't do it. And the definition was that it can do this and this and this. This has been public. There's zero definition to this. Zero.
It's not so much there's no definition, there's just no test. That's
the same thing.
Yeah. Well, we know
You don't know when you're there.
AGI would be something that could reason as well as a human. I mean, that's a simple way to put it. But how do you know? How do you test that? It's easy to define, hard to prove. And honestly, I think I've changed my tune a little bit on the idea of AGI because I've changed the definition in my mind. It doesn't have to be a machine that understands what it's doing. It doesn't have to understand context. It certainly doesn't have to be conscious. It merely has to be able to reason as well as a human. That seems to me a little bit easier to do, and I think we're a lot closer than we think, personally. Is it a conscious entity? No. That's the mistake I think some people make. Now, if the people, here's the thing that puzzles me. If the people who are directly working on this, who know much better than you and I how this works, are believers, then maybe we are closer. I mean, wouldn't they be the ones withstanding?
They also believe in this they believe in EA and transhumanism and long-termism and 10 to the 58th human beings. And this is why everybody should watch the interview that Jason and I did with Emil Torres about Stratechery on AI Inside, because it's a great interview and it really puts a context to all of this to say, whoa,
eugenics
that's what these
discussion.
guys think?
I think though so that's philosophical. AGI from their point of view doesn't have to be philosophical. It just is a thing. Can this reason like a human? That's
So
not.
I'll also say, though, the WeWork employees believed that their company would be the end of everything, that their
Good
company
point.
would be We Life.
Good
Just
point.
because employees of a particular company believe that their mission is absolutely going
True.
to come to fruition doesn't mean much of anything.
and they believed in Adam Newman.
Yeah, well,
But that's the cult of personality. Clearly, Sam Altman has that going for him. Right?
Oh, clearly, to a
Yeah.
level that we haven't seen before. I think that is something. The huge takeaway from this is that Sam Altman really has it.
All right, I want to take a break. When we come back, let's talk about the new structure.
Can I do one more thing?
Okay.
One more thing. If you go to, I just put it in the Discord. Gary Marcus's bet, because I'm just curious to hear your reaction. If you scroll down there to the bullets, this is what Gary Marcus was saying. And Gary Marcus is a really, I think, sane voice around AI and knows his stuff. He's saying this is his bet he was trying to get with Elon. And arguing that in 2029, AI will not be able to watch a movie and tell you accurately what is going on. This is comprehension. You do need comprehension to reason. So I disagree with you there. It's not just about Turing test. 2, AI will not be able to read a novel and reliably answer questions about plot, character, motivations.
It can do all those things right now. What are you talking about?
Reliably, Leo. Can't. 3, because that's the whole thing. There's hallucinations, which they like to call confabulations now. I learned it in San Francisco.
Confabulations?
Confabulations. There is no sense of truth, fact, belief, anything in AI. It is still just a word prediction machine. We're blowing in way too much here because, as Emily Bender says, we are the ones who are imputing meaning in what we see. The machine has no meaning in it. We're the ones who want to believe it. 3, AI will not be able to work as a competent cook in an arbitrary kitchen. 4, AI will not be able to reliably construct bug-free code of more than 10,000 lines. And 5, AI will not be able to take arbitrary proofs from the mathematical literature written in natural language and convert them into symbolic form. So that was what Gary was suggesting as a test of saying, okay,
it's a crappy test.
What you asked for.
I just asked ChatGPT-4 to what's the plot of the Caine Mutiny?
Okay, plot different than conflicts and motivation.
Hold on.
Now ask the motive.
Please, hold on. It then says, the novel explores themes of authority, duty, mental health, and the moral complexity of military life. Lieutenant Barney Greenwald faces the moral dilemma of defending the mutineers by exposing Queeg's mental state, despite Greenwald's personal belief in the necessity.
It comes out of 100 reviews. That's not analysis.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, sorry about that.
So you're saying it should just, so the test would be sit down and watch this movie. I don't know how you do that, but okay.
Right.
And then tell me that.
I want an AI to sit down and watch Nicolas Cage's movie Face Off and tell me the conflict and motivation between Nick Cage and John Travolta and not get them mixed up even once. Then I will believe in true AI.
I'm with
That's
Paris.
the Paris test.
That is the Paris test, and it's going to be difficult.
I honestly think that you're setting up a straw man, because what it did, based on whatever inputs it had, was good and accurate. And the point is, if you walk up to a terminal and you ask it a question like that, and it gives you an answer that is human reasoning quality, does it matter whether it watched the movie or not? It doesn't matter.
Because it's not reasoning, Leo.
No, you're setting up. It doesn't have to reason. That's your straw man.
Yeah, it does.
I do think it has to reason.
I thought
intelligence.
That sounds like fetching more so than reasoning.
Yes. Thank you, Ant. Well said.
I once asked Ray Kurzweil about this, and he said, if you can't tell the difference, what does it matter?
Okay, but I think the difference right now in what you two are talking about is that response that you just got, Leo, is being generated from other people's reviews and summaries of the movie. What we're talking about is,
can it do it on the fly
or your
right
AI
now?
In a vacuum, watches
but
the
it's
movie,
not in a vacuum.
reads the book.
But it's not in a vacuum. You're setting up a scenario that isn't realistic. It's not in a vacuum. Does it matter if it is just taking it from other people's reviews? If it's
that it's impressive, but it's not super intelligence. It can't take over the work of companies.
Okay,
it can't take over the work of people.
Of course, it could take over the work of companies and the work of people.
Well, your company
absolutely, unless you're saying that it can't take over my job unless you can go watch a movie and tell me what the moral complexities of it were.
Paris and
it
I
doesn't need to do that. You're really asking more of it than it needs to be an AGI, and I think that's the difference. I really think
a large language model. You're right. To be artificial general intelligence, artificial superintelligence, able to take over all human functions.
So tell me what it would look like to you as you're walking around in the world, and what an AGI would look like to you if you
it has to be general, right?
No.
AGI does.
You don't know where it got anything from. I'm just talking about its behavior. You don't get to say, how did you figure that out? Mm-hmm. You don't get to ask me, how did I figure that out?
You get to give it Paris's test. You get to give it So what you would expect a human to be able to do, to reason and to reason.
If we could literally put this box on
But
the
what is
couch in front
reasoning?
of a television and
But wait a
watch
minute.
something.
What is reasoning?
You think you do it, don't you?
But what is it? Describe to me. What is you're saying that it can't be an AGI unless it reasons. Well, what does that mean?
Breaking down.
It means you can throw it a problem. It can reason it through.
Well,
I don't. That's tautological.
Then it
That's
can
tautological.
respond
You can't reason by
to
reasoning.
it can respond to stimuli in a logical way that resembles human, socially acceptable human response.
Okay, give me a stimuli that you're talking about here. And I'll just ask
Nicolas
ChatGPT.
Cage's
weather.
1990s film Face Off.
So if I ask it, describe the motivations.
Okay.
See, and you're saying, oh no, but it's getting that from somebody else's review. Some
Right.
human did that. I don't know where you got your ideas from. Did you get it from just watching the movie?
I got my ideas straight from Nighthawk Cinema's Cage Mondays night.
But does it
Walked
matter?
in there blind.
But do I
interpreted
do I
the
go to you,
stimuli
Paris,
that is,
and say, well, you can't
Huh?
really be reasoning if you have read any other reviews of it. You have to.
I hadn't read any reviews.
I know, but it
so
doesn't
I am
matter.
reasoning, baby.
I know, but it doesn't. But it, to me, and as an outside observer, it doesn't. It's irrelevant, right?
Well, I mean, so that's the thing is, I think the difference here is that if we are trying to prove that this technology has something, and this something in this case being reasoning, and this technology is something that is very good at synthesizing ideas that it has gotten from other sources and repackaging that for us, we're going to try and, have a controlled experiment and take out as many variables from it. So in this case, what we want to isolate is its ability to interpret information and then have certain responses.
Does a toddler reason?
Yeah.
At some point,
Not
yes.
well sometimes, but yeah.
Right. So that's what I'm thinking about when it comes to this scenario you're thinking of if it can do like a toddler and reason just from being in the moment and life experience, not necessarily fetching data from some other source that it got online or what.
See, again, you're too concerned with how it got there. Mm-hmm. You want to see a thought process.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It only matters what comes out the mouth at the end. And you cannot, in fact, I would submit, figure out what the thought process is or whether it had one. You can only judge the answer. If it could take the SAT and score 800, you can't. It doesn't matter. Well, what was your reasoning?
No, Leo, I mean, think about back to how we, math class. You're in elementary or middle school
your
or
work.
something.
I understand.
You're asked to, show your work.
But why does it matter if the AGI shows its work?
The reason why we do that in schools is to make sure that people are actually learning, developing the capability to reason or figure out certen parts of these various puzzles. And it is to develop that critical thinking.
Here's look, I honestly don't care, but what I'm arguing is,
I honestly don't care.
What I'm arguing is the point of view that I think the people at OpenAI and other AI scientists are arguing, and Ray Kurzweil was certainly arguing, which is you're too concerned about how it got there. That's not relevant to the point, which is, does it get there? If it gets there, it doesn't matter how it gets there. In fact, it's probable that a machine will not get there the same way a human gets there. You're trying to use how it gets there as the judgment of whether it's thinking. And that's because you're thinking about thinking. It's not about thinking, it's the result. Kurzweil was telling me, if you can't tell, it doesn't matter. And I think that's exactly what the OpenAI people are saying. And that's why we're saying, oh, you can't have AGI, because you can't have a thinking machine. But that's probably true, but that's not what they're saying. They're not saying we're not trying to create reason. We're trying to create something that is a simulation of reason that's so good that you can't tell the difference.
But that's going back to the Turing test of fooling us.
Yeah, that's the Turing test.
Another way to look at this. So when I was at this WEF event, it was a good structure that they, in my breakout group, because you have to have breakout groups, that said that what AI, they refuse to delineate generative AI from AI. It's all AI. It's just phases.
I think that's actually
they
correct.
said that.
Yeah.
I think it is. And they said the group I was in, which was very smart people who do protein folding and all kind of amazing stuff, said that AI has the potential to raise the floor, allowing people access to tasks they wouldn't otherwise have, scale, allowing us to be efficient in those tasks, and raise the ceiling, allow us to do things that we can't do, like protein folding, which is not general, very specific, but phenomenal. On the bad side, it can have economic inequality. It can scale evil, because you can now put disinformation all over. You can, create a disease that's going to do bad things. And what was the third one? I forget. But the point is that there is a structure. I think we can look at this, but it has no relation to reality. Let me try this on you. So Emily Bender or Margaret Mitchell, one of them says that you should imagine, if you want to understand how generative AI operates, LLM operates, you're in a library in Thailand. You don't speak the language. You don't understand the symbols. There are no translations there. There are no picture books there. All you have is the symbols and their relationships to work with. That's all that AGI has, is symbols of what we think of as words, but it doesn't know as words, and their relationships with them. And it does this huge concordance, which makes it able to make predictions that impress us. But is that problem solving? All it's doing is predicting what we would likely say. So it's mimicking us, and it's doing a good job of mimicking us because it has all of our words to deal with. But is it able to take over the world? Is it truly intelligent? I think Kurzweil and these guys are wrong there. That if it appears to be, it is. I think that fails the test. Now you want to do a commercial?
Yeah. This is why I don't.
I like how we started off this whole
try to
thing.
get into
Sorry,
the commercials,
just one thing.
and then you stop
I know.
me.
I'm sorry. I interrupted you. I did, but I wanted to keep going to the screen.
Well, you could, and we can come back on the after the commercial.
Okay.
But incidentally,
sorry.
Just thinking about what you were saying, Paris. A teacher's trying to teach you how to think. That's why they want you to share your work. But if you came to me and said, gave me a tough math problem, and I gave you the answer, if you're not trying to teach me to think, that's sufficient, right?
Yeah. But we're trying
I don't need to show my work if I get the right answer.
Yeah, but we don't already know that this knows how to think. It
doesn't have to think.
Now and what these companies
is all I'm
are.
saying.
Well, we know it doesn't know how to think. We know that.
Yeah.
It doesn't know how to.
Its process is not the same as ours.
Someone in Discord had a good point. Was it Andrew? He basically said a plumber can still go out and do all of their different jobs, but they have a certain level of code that they have to follow in order to get the job done. Shouldn't this be the same type of parameters in place for AI? Yes, it gets the job done, but did it do it within?
Yeah, all of that's what it would do. And what you don't ask is, well, how'd you figure that out? You don't care how it figured it out. And if it didn't use the same process as a human, who cares?
Well,
if the result is satisfactory and it follows the code, then you're satisfied.
Okay. Well, yeah, if it followed the code, then
but it
we're
would,
satisfied.
of course, it would,
Yeah.
because that's actually the thing it does best. I think we're too stuck on how it gets there, and I don't think it matters how it gets there. Is what I'm saying.
Well, I still think I'm going to go back to old Leo. And I think this is going to be proven to be a parlor trick that is unreliable for so many tasks we put it to.
He called you old.
New cultish.
He didn't mean
Leo
old
said.
that way. He meant previous. The previous Leo. Let's say
Leo.
previous
Okay, I
Leo.
am saying it is pretty interesting that this is happening right before you're going to go on your week-long silent meditation. It feels like you are kind of slow fading into a cult a little bit here. And
I'm thinking, honestly, I don't know. I don't pretend to understand or know the answer to this at all. I'm actually just arguing the various sides of it.
Yeah.
And I think that it's not unreasonable to say, who cares what its process is, or if it understands context, or if it can think. If it comes up with if you ask me what's 1 billion times 37594 and I say the right answer, it doesn't matter if I can show my work. That's only if you're trying to teach somebody to think. All we care about with the AI is, does it come up with the right answer, right? We don't care if the plumbing.
We care about it, yes, but the people who are making the AI are trying to teach it how to think in this.
Oh, no, by the way, that's really important. And that's why the people who do this have a different opinion on it. They're not trying to teach it to think. They're very clear. They're not trying to duplicate human process at all.
They're trying to teach it to have outputs, and it does matter how it gets to those outputs.
This isn't reliable, and it's not going to be reliable. It is not going to be reliable. Chamber B, if he comes back in a week and asks you to start building the bomb shelter, will you let us know?
If he comes back and just walks into the studio with a case full of dance clothes and makes all of you guys wear it, let us know.
I'm just saying, a lot of this is definitions. It's not.
Yes.
It's how you define all of this, and
define intelligence.
I think we are. Yeah, I think
is crucial.
The problem is we don't really have good definitions for thinking,
No, we don't.
or
That's my
intelligence, or reasoning, or any of that stuff. So you have to be kind of outcome focused, and I honestly think that's why the scientists who are doing this have a different kind of point of view than we do. We have a more philosophically based.
Well, they don't all have this. I mean, if you listen to people, so when I was at the meeting last week, in the public part, Ian Bremmer was up on stage with somebody from OpenAI and others, and he said, I don't want to talk about AGI. And Andrew Ning was on stage, and he said, this is worthless to talk about whether it's going to destroy humanity with AGI. I don't know if the radio waves we're sending, any more than I know the radio waves we're sending out into space are going to bring the aliens who'll kill us. It doesn't matter. Right? There was a dismissal of this whole idea at AGI with the professionals who do this. This idea of AGI is itself a small but powerful and rich cult that some parts of the technology world are mocking and dismissing. So I don't think we should assume that they're all into AGI. There's a lot of nutty people here.
I think nutty doesn't matter. I think it does matter.
They have their
it matters very much.
On the button to destroy mankind.
It matters very much if sending radio waves brings down an alien invasion. Matters very much. We may not know.
What if the aliens are cool?
Yeah, they could be cool. We don't know what the outcome will be. But we didn't know what the outcome would be when they started research on the atomic bomb. You have to, before you invent these things, think about the outcome, not after. It's too late.
True.
In a somewhat realistic way. That's the other problem here is I think that I think the AGI is BS and the destroyed humanity is BS and the test grail is real BS.
Yeah, but
I want to have this discussion.
I agree.
At a
90
scientific level.
90% you're right. But what if you're not?
Hello, aliens. They're coming down to New Jersey.
Well, what if you're not? I'm just saying.
Is real.
I know. It's prudent to think about.
Same with religion. What if I'm wrong about God? And God says, they try to tell you time and time again. Your parents try to tell you. Sorry, bud.
There's less evidence that there's a hell than there is AGI. I think there's more evidence for an AGI. I'll be honest with you. If you gave me the choice.
You heathen.
Hell or AGI?
You heathen.
Which one are you going to choose?
I'm just saying, I don't think it's a completely outrageous consideration, especially since we're working towards it, just as we worked towards the atomic bomb.
Yeah.
Well, so in a sense, Darwin robbed us, or Newton robbed us of the idea that the universe had purpose. Darwin robbed us of the idea that evolution has purpose, and now the machine robs us of the idea that we have purpose.
Actually, evolution's a really interesting point because evolution does not think, it does not reason, but we are the result of it. There's a mechanical process that produced what we think of as thinking.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yeah.
So what's to say that there cannot be a mechanical process that can create a machine that thinks?
There's a book I quoted in Gutenberg called How History Gets Things Wrong. And it says that the theory of mind is a fiction. It's when we believe that we think we can tell what other people are thinking, that it's not. It's more evolution.
Yes.
It's more the videotape plays in our head, like AI, and we do that. And so I agree with you there. But if you're going to call what we do intelligence, not how we do it, but what we can turn out, which is I think what Paris is saying, then whether it can turn that out reliably in any situation, general.
Well, you're not reliable in any situation. Wait a minute.
AGI means.
That's a standard that's pretty high.
Jeff is incredibly reliable.
That's exactly what AGI
in all situations.
It could take over the work of every company.
No, it doesn't have to be reliable. You're not reliable. Steve Jobs is not reliable. Sam Altman is not reliable. That's a very high standard. If that's your standard, Yeah, you're right. We're never going to have AGI. You're right.
point.
You win.
Good point.
You just raised the bar so high, we can't get there. But you just also stipulated that we are the result of a mechanical process, that
I
all
agree.
the things
Yes,
that
we
we
are.
are and
Yeah.
think. No, I don't know if that's true either. I mean, I sometimes think there's a soul. But if in fact Darwin was right and we're the result of a purely mechanical process, then why couldn't an AGI become the result of a mechanical process? That's the thing.
Maybe
That's the
eventually
real.
it could.
That's maybe the fundamental philosophical questions. I asked Steve Gibson this, and he says, "No, we're no different than a computer. We just do it faster and in parallel or whatever. But we are mechanistic machines."
We are mechanistic, but we are also the result of randomness. I mean, if we're going to get really philosophical about it,
Oh, boy.
we are the result of randomness over time plus mechanical processes, which is what makes us different than a machine that is purely mechanically designed.
No, what makes us different is some of us secure our email.
Nice job. Thank you, Mr. Ant Pruitt.
It's really important.
Very important point. Our show today brought to you by, surprisingly, what a coincidence, Secure My Email, the email encryption service we've all been waiting for. I don't know if you've heard my troubles, trials, and tribulations with PGP over the last 2 decades. Some of you have even tried to follow me along. How'd that go? Look. The idea of securing your email is very important. We use email for everything, personal and business communications, stuff we wouldn't want the government to read or the person next door. But email was never designed for security or privacy, nor was the internet. The answer, of course, is encryption. Real end-to-end encryption is private, is secure, is also really hard to do with PGP or SMIME. That's why Secure My Email is so brilliant. It solves the problem using technologies like OpenPGP and the Cha-Cha-20 Cipher Suite to encrypt your email, but without a lot of effort on your part. You don't have to exchange keys ahead of time. By the way, that's how Proton Mail works, right? You have to, you have to tell the other person out of band what the password is so that they can read the encrypted email. That's not how Secure My Email works. It works on Macs, Windows, Android, and iOS. You can encrypt your existing email addresses. You don't need a new one. Personal, business, doesn't matter. You can use Secure My Email's apps to manage your email, but you can also continue to use your current setup. Just use Secure My Email when needed. Very easy to set up and use. They've kind of all the encryption, all the complicated stuff is under the hood. But it is all, that open source, strong encryption like it is OpenPGP or Cha-Cha-20. So it's using that kind of encryption, but it hides it all from you. And here's the most important thing. I know the question in your mind. Your recipients do not need to use Secure My Email. They do not need to register. They do not need to know any passwords. There is no out-of-band password exchange for non-user recipients. When recipients respond, their emails and attachments are encrypted through Secure My Email systems automatically. Now, Secure My Email has a free forever plan for a single address from Gmail, Yahoo, Microsoft, and more. So if you just want to try it out, it's free forever. Go at it with your address. If you decide you want more addresses, you can have up to 8 email addresses, business or personal, per user for just $3.99 a month or $29.99 a year. Less than $30 a year per user. You get instant download and activation. If for the free one, you don't have to give them any payment information. There's no registration. They don't call you or anything. It's very simple. It's really, at least try this, because I've been telling you about PGP forever. Finally, there's a way to do it that's easy, that doesn't involve a whole bunch of complicated command line instructions. Start your free account or enjoy a 30-day free trial of the premium plan. No payment info required for that either. They have a special offer for Twit listeners too, but you'll have to go to securemyemail.com/twit to find out what it is. The offer code TWIT is required at checkout for this deal. Securemyemail.com/twit. Go to that site, sign up, use the code TWIT, and you'll see what a great discount they've got for you. This is something we needed. Securemyemail.com/twit. Offer code TWIT. Okay, up to you guys. We can continue to talk about this. I guess before we
I
move
want to know
on,
one thing.
Yeah.
What's Sam Altman's $27 million house like?
I don't know. Have you been inside it? Has anybody been inside it? Your
reporters,
colleague,
the information
your
were outside
colleague
it.
lives 0.3 miles away. Your colleague must be doing all right.
Apparently, unlike the surrounding buildings, which are bay-windowed Victorians painted in bright colors, his $27 million mansion is like starkly modern and tucked away behind a maze of plants and trees.
Oh, you can't see it.
And it's got a big gate where an Amazon delivery driver chucked a package.
I thought you were going to say he had his own personal Amazon delivery driver.
No, I mean, that would make sense, but no.
So, what neighborhood of San Francisco?
Russian Hill.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
a nice. You know what? That's where I would live. That's a nice. It's not too fancy. It's not Pacific Heights
Not
where
Pacific
the billionaires
Heights.
live.
Right.
It's kind of artsy, nice. You want a picture? We got a picture in the Discord. Look at that. How did they get this picture? Is this made up or is this real?
That's his house.
That's made up.
Okay.
Oh, no,
I've
that's
seen
different
that
Altman. That's different Altman.
That's a different Altman?
I've seen that on television.
This house
I would never
in
guess
San
it's a tech
Francisco, 27 million for sure.
That's 40 million. That one's 40 million.
Yeah, I was going to say this is
Different Altman.
It's a different
Yeah, it's
Altman.
Altman Brothers. I was looking this up.
Oh, the Altman brothers.
Yeah, I've seen that on a television show. It's pretty nice.
Not the Altman Brothers, the Altman Brothers.
They own furniture stores.
All right. Sorry, Leo. Go ahead.
So let's just say what's the state of play right now? There's a new board. Interestingly, they got rid of all the women because that was the problem.
Those women won't stop talking. Am I right? Yap, yap,
They
yap.
got rid of there were 2 women on the 6-person board, which is, according to my careful calculations, don't ask me to show my work, 33%. But there is now 0%, not to mention the fact they replaced them with Larry Summers, who is former Secretary of Treasury, but maybe better or more, shall I say, infamous as president of Harvard when he said that women don't have the brains to pursue STEM.
Yep.
Oh, well, I mean, he'd know.
Yeah. Just let that.
Paris, did we hear anything about them expanding the board, or is this the board?
No, the board, I believe, is 3 people. I'm forgetting the name of one of them. Is someone who was previously on the board. D'Angelo, I believe. Is
It's the
last
Quora
name.
guy.
Cora guy stayed.
Quora guy,
Larry
plus Larry
Summers.
Summers, plus
Larry
Brett
Summers.
Taylor.
Brett Taylor,
Now-
who's a nice guy.
We've talked about Brett Taylor before. He comes up a lot on this show for some reason.
We could do This Week in Brett Taylor if you're looking for
Brett Taylor's
a name.
story is
So-
great. I feel like he might even be listening. So nice job,
Hey,
Brett.
Brett.
43 years old. His history is fascinating.
It is.
He created Where-To Technologies. Did mapping, right?
Yep.
And integrated Where-To Technologies into Google Maps. Might be you heard of that. Later, CTO at Facebook, chairman of Twitter's board of directors prior to the acquisition by Elon Musk. In fact, the reason we were talking about him 1 year ago is because he's the guy who forced Elon Musk to buy Twitter. Nice
Right.
job. Then
Money.
his other company got bought by Salesforce, so he became the co-CEO of Salesforce alongside Mark Benioff. He was one of the founders of FriendFeed, which we loved. That's where I really became aware of Brett Taylor, the creator of Quip. What is Quip?
I don't remember Quip.
I like
Is that
Quip.
the
I can't
D2C
remember.
toothbrush, or is that?
I don't think that's the toothbrush. It's productivity software for mobile and the web.
Yeah, no, we liked it. It was really good. I can't remember what it did though.
So he's co-creator of Google Maps, CEO of FriendFeed, former CTO of Facebook, founded Google App Engine with Kevin Gibbs.
On the board of Shopify.
He was on the board of Shopify. This guy did everything.
He's a really nice guy too. I like
40
him.
freaking 3 years
He
old.
also was the kind of mediator in the eventual negotiations that led to Altman being reinstated. He was the kind of the middle ground.
You know why?
person. Emmett Shear brought him in
Because
he's a nice guy.
everybody likes Brett Taylor.
Brett Taylor, it's true.
Everybody likes him. They just want him to be on the board. I just want to hang with him. He's a great guy. Now, Emmett Shear is an interesting story. He was, by his own count, for 55 hours, the CEO of OpenAI. I remember Emmett from
Did he get a T-shirt?
Justin.tv. Remember Justin Kahn?
Yeah.
Sure was my
We-
old CEO
Yeah.
at my old company.
He was your old company, right? We talked to Justin I knew Justin. I'm sure I knew Emmett at the same time because it was just a couple of guys in a dorm room, and they put a camera on Justin's head and they followed him around.
And a big backpack full of
and
CDMAs.
Emmett was his partner in this, and I don't know if he was technical. I guess he was the technical guy. Then later founded what became Twitch.tv, which was bought by Amazon for almost $1 billion. Were you with Twitch, Benito, before the Amazon acquisition?
No, after.
After. Did you know Emmett?
I did. I've had a couple of. I had to do. So I was in video production at Twitch, so I did like all the corporate.
Oh, so he'd come in and say,
"Yeah, I'd shoot him."
All right,
yeah.
How do I look? Do I look good? All right, let me talk.
Shoot me.
Shoot me.
He's been linked to effective altruism.
He's an EA guy. Yeah.
Yep. Otherwise, he wouldn't be there.
Also, I think in a recent podcast recording, he estimated that there was a 5 to 50% chance that AI could pose an existential threat to humanity.
Yeah, so he believes in all that.
So he's a goomba.
He's also, I think, a bunch of old tweets resurfaced whenever he was
bad
named,
stuff.
where he mused on women's rape fantasies and wondered aloud whether putting Nazis in power would be preferable to risking the demise of humanity by AI. All that stuff.
But everybody likes him, Taylor.
Not a nice guy.
Everybody likes him.
No, that's Brett Taylor. Everybody likes. Nobody likes Emmett Shear.
This is Shear.
Everybody hates Emmett Shear.
Oh. Yeah. I lost the.
Emmett Shear was probably singularly least qualified to take over OpenAI, but he got the job
10th
done.
choice.
Yeah, they went to everybody.
They went to their main competitor, Anthropic, and asked if they wanted to take over OpenAI before they went to Emmett Shear.
Anthropic, interestingly, was like Elon Musk, former OpenAI people who didn't like the direction OpenAI was going in, split it off.
Who are also very Tescriel. Anthropic people.
So, anyways, now
people doing Craig.
Now, the chairman of OpenAI, huh?
Anthropic.
What'd you say?
Do they do Craig?
Claude.
That's the one.
Claude.
Craig.
Oh, Craig is
our
inside of Discord. Sorry.
Yeah, by the way, Craig is still available if you want to name an AI Craig. You could do that.
I like that idea.
Oh, it's gotten AI in there too.
Yes, it does.
It's huge.
Oh my God.
Guys, get on Craig.
The AI is built in.
Is it Craig a bot inside
Craig
of
was
Discord?
actually saying something about having a Craig GPT.
You can't do Craig without AI.
You can just clip Leo saying this, and you've got a built-in recommendation.
I mean, this is made for AI. Anyway, the new chairman of the board is Greg Brockman, which, by the way, sounds like a phony character from The Simpsons. Doesn't he sound like the anchor man on the TV show?
He does.
Wait, no, he's not the chairman.
I don't think
Brett Taylor is the chairman.
Taylor replaced Brockman.
There.
Sorry, Taylor replaced Brockman.
It's
I got that
Brockman,
right. Yeah. Brett Taylor is COB. What else? We have Larry Summers. Women aren't smart Summers. Math is hard Summers. He though is there because as Secretary of the Treasury, he was very worried about AI taking the white collar jobs. He wanted to protect the white collar jobs, so that's why he's there, to protect the white collar jobs. God knows, we got to protect the white collar jobs.
We need someone standing up for white collar jobs.
Somebody has to stand up for the lawyers, the ad executives, all the white collar workers, the middle managers of the world.
Who's going to commit white collar crimes without without Larry Summers there?
Exactly.
Arguably, the jobs that can be replaced most easily by AI.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's the people doing the plumbing who are not going to be replaced by AI.
Exactly.
And I guess the other update is that Altman agreed to an internal investigation into the alleged conduct that prompted the board to oust him as part of coming back.
And I think that's in his interest. Unless he really did something bad, I think that's in his interest, because people in the back of their minds are going to say, "Well, what?
Who's going to do the investigation?
Independent.
Great question.
Independent. No. It said independent.
Stuff.
Yeah, it said independent. So, is it like back to business as usual? Of the 750 employees, something like 730 of them said, "We're out of here if Sam's out of here." So they got them back.
Yeah,
it's pretty funny. I love the bit you showed me on Daily Show about what employees would say, "If the boss is out of here, I'm gone."
Who cares about the boss?
Who cares about honestly, if I disappear, then you're gonna go, "Hey, see ya, goodbye." Oh, we can't do it without you. All right. Anyway, is there a winner out of all this? I have a theory. The big
No, I
winners.
think everyone's a loser.
Everyone's a loser.
Yeah, with a big L on the forehead. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Microsoft.
Not yet.
I don't know.
Not yet.
Yeah. Right, Ant. Right.
Not
We
yet.
don't know.
We don't know.
Not yet.
Okay, there we go. You got it. I said it was the effective altruist versus the capitalist, but I don't think that's really fair because everybody involved was an effective altruist, right?
Exactly.
I mean,
And an AGI person is part of this. You also have the accelerationists versus the effective altruists. So if you
Versus
go back
the
to
decels.
right,
And the incels. You got them all.
It's true.
they're all kind of incels. I think. Yeah.
Boy.
I don't know. Those like effective altruists, they get around. That was the whole thing with FTX, right?
Yeah, Sam Bankman-Fried was the guy. I think like the effective altruist. What is the Jeff? What is that? What is the definition of effective altruism?
Well, that's I'll say it my way. That's I can earn a hell of a lot of money because I'm going to decide where to put it to good end, and I'm going to decide the future of mankind. So trust me. So it's an excuse to make a lot of money. Effective accelerationists are I don't care if I'm doing anything good, just don't stand in my way. And this is where Mark Andreessen is. He's an accelerationist.
The effective altruists would not define themselves the way you do.
I warned you. I said I was going to define it my way.
Okay, well, I'll say it their way. They say, and I think this is reasonable. Bill Gates always said, I'm not going to give away my money until I can do it right. It's hard to do it right. Look at Mark Zuckerberg, who gave how much money to Newark? Like $100 million to Newark, and it was burned. So the real point of effective altruism, at least as they say it, you're probably right. They have
It's a lot of hubris in
some
this.
motives underneath, but as they say it is, we want to do good, but we want to do it right. That we don't want to do good in ways that are ineffective. We don't want to send food to Ethiopia that gets snarfed up by warlords instead of getting to the people who are starving. And I think that is reasonable. That's a good
It sounds reasonable, but the issues become pretty quickly. I mean, a lot of this is tied then to long-termism. This is why TESCRAIL, the full string, matters. Because in long-termism, Nick Bostrom and McAuliffe out of Oxford, for God's sakes, believe that there are 10 to the 58th potential human beings, both real and virtual, and we owe the obligation to them. Today, not so much. So trust me to build that future and use this money because I'm so damn smart. I can build a machine that can destroy the earth. So you should also trust me to build that future and make sure that we don't destroy the earth. Tie that in with utilitarianism and, importantly here, with eugenics, because they also believe that they're making a better human. And that gets real dangerous real fast.
I don't know if it's fair to let Jeff define this because he clearly doesn't like these guys. So I'm going to go to effectivealtruism.org. The official site. And
McCaskill.
The other
Says-
slant.
Bad guy.
We're the
Bad guy.
worst guys.
We should focus on problems that are important, neglected, and tractable. Now,
Who
here's
gets to
where
say
it
that
starts
what's
to get a little
important?
weird. We can do a lot of good with our careers. In other words, don't do charitable work. Just make your work be altruistic. Now, here's where it really gets weird. New technologies might threaten to wipe out life on Earth, and reducing this risk might be a key priority.
Might. Just might.
And finally, and this is where it really goes off the rails, some sentient beings are ignored because they don't look like us or are far away.
Yeah.
So what? Are they talking about
Leo, it's
dolphins
also-
or
they
aliens?
talk about-
What are they talking
They
about?
talk about, no, what they're talking about,
Talking about animals?
is the unborn human beings. It gets very much like the abortion talk.
No, I think
they
they're
talk about the 10 to the 58th unborn human beings who are not represented,
Jeff,
so we
again,
must represent them.
I think you're misrepresenting it because when I click on the link, where they say this, some sentient beings are ignored because they don't look like us or far away, it takes me to a page about factory farming. They're talking about chickens. Just because they don't look like us doesn't mean we should make them suffer in factory farms. I can get behind that.
Well, there's a whole line of EA which was about being nice to animals. There's a whole big animal thing here.
What's
But a
wrong
lot of
with
people,
that? I'm
like
for
Sam
that.
Bankman-Fried, left
Delicious.
Well, Sam
Hates
Bankman-Fried
animals. That's what's wrong.
unfortunately has tarnished
bad
the
PR
reputation
for them.
of EA completely.
Of these brilliant people.
Some of the things
I'm gonna
they
put
have
another
done
plug here.
is the Against Malaria Foundation that's distributed 200
Yeah, a lot of
million
them backed away
mosquito
from that
nets.
too.
Oh,
Because they think that, honest to God, once like Larry Summers says, we should put our nuclear waste in Africa because they're going to die sooner anyway. Honest to God, he said that. So they
Larry
backed, a lot of them
Summers is
backed
a
away
horrible
from it.
human. I think that the effective altruistic movement has to separate itself, go away from Larry Summers and more towards the chickens. Okay, let's just move more towards the chickens. Yeah, I'll be honest with you, Jeff. The real problem is that capitalists will capitalist. And they just are looking for any possible justification.
That's what Emil Torres said to us, and I want to plug this again because it was a good conversation. So on AI Inside, it's on the internet. We can put it on the rundown where you can watch the full interview. Emil Torres said, "Yeah, it's capitalism on steroids. It's the ultimate of capitalism. It's let me make as much money as possible, and I will decide what to do with it because I'm smarter than the rest."
I think they may have co-opted what was a good movement and co-opted it for their own evil plans. Maybe. How about that?
No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this was a philosophy way before like, any of the billionaires.
It predates
utilitarianism.
the billionaires.
Exactly. So, like, yes,
It's
it was just
utilitarianism.
co-opted. I believe it was just co-opted. Like,
Billionaires are just looking around. What can we use to justify raping and pillaging?
Exactly. They're rationalizing their billions.
Here we go. Effective altruism.
Exactly.
So does it go way back? I mean, how old is it?
Not that far back. I think this is something.
Here, Wikipedia says it
Remember the,
developed
Big
during the
Bang Theory?
2000s. The name was coined in 2011. Philosophers linked to the movement: Peter Singer, Toby Ord, William McCaskill.
Yeah, the problem is that the lead guy got seduced by Silicon Valley, and then he started going to those parties and started hanging out with those people.
Oh.
So McCaskill and Bostrom are at Oxford.
I pulled my definition.
They are the philosopher kings of this movement. And what Torres explains very well is TESCREAL is in the order of where it started. It started with transhumanism. Let's make better humans. Let's put chips in our heads. Then let's move out to the whole of the universe and take it over because it's our responsibility to do that. And rationalism and effective altruism and long-termism, which is the 10 to the 58th human beings. It's important to understand this stuff because it does create the basis for this. Paris, I would love to see you dig into this story because it's so wacky.
One of my colleagues recently published a piece on kind of the effective altruism movement. I need to read it so I can speak.
The information is so damn good. You guys do such good work.
Got a little bit of everything,
It is.
don't they?
It really is.
We really,
You know what happened?
Got it all.
Yeah.
You know what happened?
What?
This story made me subscribe. That and $100 off.
Jeff's subscriber now.
Sale.
Congratulations.
Sweet.
That's
did it.
great, Jeff. You
Did
could have
you
I would have given you my
get into that call?
You weren't supposed to say it on
The
the mic.
call, Paris.
What's the
they
call?
Moved the time.
What's the
I
call?
went in at 12:30, and then they moved it up to 12.
What call? I didn't even know there was a call.
We had a subscriber call on Monday to kind of do a brief on the OpenAI
Oh,
situation.
I would have listened to that.
Wow.
Oh, shoot.
Yeah.
Oh, were you on the call?
No, I was working.
Busy writing the story about
I was just busy writing 4,000 words as to what was going on. But, I heard it was good.
You
When
guys
did
were
you start
all
writing
over
the
this
story?
story. So
So
good.
Paris, two questions. When did you start writing it, and how often did you have to throw pieces of it out?
Noon Eastern on Monday, we started writing in it. And then like in a couple of hours in, I got my colleague Julia Black to join me. I was working first on Friday through Saturday evening, Friday AM to Saturday midnight. And then she was doing that to Monday, where we were now. And I don't know, we were at first quite panicked because we're like, I think there's going to be a resolution of the situation Monday. So we got to get this out quickly. But then as time went on, we had it mostly done probably like Tuesday morning. We're going to sit in it until something happened, or maybe we have a weekend section at the Information that's more like a magazine, so we're maybe going to hold it for then. But then when everything came to fruition last night, we were like, we got to get this out now. We honestly didn't end up throwing that much out. I think today, right before it published, we were like, this is over 4,000 words. You got to cut some of the extra stuff. So we trimmed some extra detail then. But
Robert Moses, that book, it was so thick they couldn't bind it. The Power Broker, the book by Robert Caro.
Right.
So Robert Caro had to get together with his editor, the famous, what was his name, Mike? He just passed.
Also Bob Gottlieb.
Bob Gottlieb. And they had to cut out the equivalent of 100,000 words. They had to cut out like a whole book out of the book.
Good gosh.
Because they couldn't bind it. And Gottlieb said famously, there's a great movie about this, a documentary, said famously.
Yeah, it's phenomenal.
He said, so Caro says, well, let's just make it 2 volumes. And Gottlieb says, Bob, I don't think we could, it's going to be hard enough selling one book about Robert Moses. I don't think we can sell 2. Article from Stephanie Palazzolo, Anissa Gardagi, and Clay Clark and John Victor. Did I butcher their names? Gardagi?
You did good.
Gardagi?
Yeah.
What comes next for Sam Altman's OpenAI? Maybe I've read too many seen too many mob movies. Among the most immediate challenges will be determining the role of Ilya Sutskever, the company's chief visionary scientist, and his allies on the company's AI safety team, who initially supported Altman's ouster. I could just see them. Altman coming into the room saying, Ilya.
I was thinking that earlier.
I did not. What did you do, man?
I was thinking that earlier. That's why I asked who got to him. But then you said it was so-and-so's.
It will be somebody that you trust. Yeah. Look for somebody that you trust will come to you with the idea for this meet.
I give it a week.
Our people on the ground had said that he was suspiciously absent or conspicuously absent from the festivities last night when everyone was partying at the OpenAI office, which apparently got so rowdy that they had a smoke machine set up in the office, or a fog machine, and it set off the fire alarm.
Oh my God.
And they had to go out in the street while firemen came in.
Quickly, write another scene for our WeWork story. This is going to be great, man.
Like the guys with the
whole
burned
episode.
eyes.
I tried to find this out. We're unsure whether they were dancing outside, but I'm unsure whether or not there was a dance floor inside.
Wow.
I choose to believe that there was.
Miss Paris, why would he show up to that party?
I don't know. Ostensibly,
he should be ashamed and embarrassed.
Ostensibly, he flipped over the weekend. Was working super hard to get Altman back, but I assume that he has to be in a weird mental place. To say the least.
Oh, yeah.
Now Altman says we need another 100 billion.
No, he said that?
Yeah. He says that company will need to raise as much as $100 billion now. So
same.
Step up.
And after all we've learned, why would anyone trust any of these people with money or the future? They're all...
Because I'll tell you why. When you're an investor, right? You got to remember, the people who are putting money into venture funds are fabulously wealthy already. Mm-hmm. Their problem is not the same as our problem. I could buy a CD and get 4%. I could buy some stocks. Mm-hmm. They can't take their money and just put it in the stock market. They need better investments. And what they really need is high yield investments. High risk, high reward. Mm-hmm. So they're looking for the biggest upside. Why do you think people invested in Uber? Uber made a lot of sense if you assume self-driving vehicles. You don't have to pay drivers. It's the upside. So what's the upside of an AGI? It's unlimited. So if you got I got a $5 million. I'm not doing anything with it. I already bought the yacht. I already bought the $27 million home in Russian Hill. Maybe I'll put a little money into OpenAI, because if they come up with AGI, then we're going to be rich.
Chasing that feeling.
They need the big upside. That's the biggest upside I think it's the biggest upside of them all. Beats them all. Beats everything. Yeah?
All right. Well, here's another question. Why? So is it DeepMind? Is it Anthropic? Is it... What makes you think that...
It's OpenAI.
Especially after this weekend, it's OpenAI.
It's OpenAI. Absolutely. I mean, you got to pick one, or actually you don't. You put $5 million in every one of them. Maybe they do.
Probably, yeah.
But
diversifying.
if you had to pick one, I'd say OpenAI, right?
Yeah.
I like Claude.
Craig.
I love Craig.
Craig's even better.
Guys, we gotta found Craig. We should leave
with
media
Craig, with AI
and start
inside.
Craig.
VCs hit me up.
And by the way, you're going to get an email later from Craig saying, fine. He did go on stage at a benefit talking about Craig GPT.
Nice.
We couldn't watch for 20 minutes and find him saying that, but he made a joke about being Craig GPT. So
Craig
he already is on the way to being sentient.
Craig. Don't you think every VC, every startup CEO looking for their next thing, every entrepreneur is saying, what can I do in AI?
Yep.
What can I do?
Oh, yes. Oh, God, yes. Oh, they're harassing
absolutely.
every employee.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned this. A couple months ago, I got an email. Someone wanted to hire me for some photography services. And I wasn't able to take it at the time. And they were in town because they invest in AI ventures. And they were visiting someone to take a look at some project. And I was like, wow, that's got to be a interesting life to live. All you're doing is just looking for, okay, I need to find something with AI on it and invest in it and hope I hit it big.
Have you tried Topaz, their new AI
Not the
photo
new one.
editor?
Not the new one, but it's beautiful.
It looks really cool. So this is a low-res picture of an eagle, and then you run it through it, and it looks good. So I have a very low-res picture of me as a Cub Scout.
Okay.
And I ran it through this thing.
And you upscaled it?
I don't have it with. I wish I brought it. Maybe is it on?
Oh, come on. You got it.
You
You're
can't
generous.
start
So,
this sentence
can't-
and not
no.
have the Cub Scout
It
pic.
got my face just right, but it put a hand on my shoulder. I thought, what's that?
Oh.
And it turns out the Cub Scout badge is so blurry that it thought, oh, maybe that's a hand. I don't know. I'll put a hand there.
It tried. It tried.
The leaves behind me on this rubber plant were like, oh my God. So
Like Paris's plant that's going to eat her?
yeah.
Take it over the whole
I
apartment?
don't think I have it with me. I wish I did. It was kind of scary but the thing is, you look at it at first, and it's like, oh, that's good.
Yep.
Wow, that's what I looked like as a kid. And then you look at
All
the
right,
rest
as a
of it.
club benefit, you have to put that on
Okay.
the...
we
I'll
gotta
put it in the
find it.
Discord
Discord when
tonight.
I get home. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Club Twit, guys. Get this
If
exclusive
you're not yet
content.
a member, here's something really going to get you.
You can see the spooky hand.
Creepy AI pictures of Leo as a Cub Scout
Leo as a
could
Cub
be
Scout.
yours for just $7 a
The
month.
low price, yeah.
Actually, the real price is $7 a month, and it gets you the good feeling that you're helping out Twit, which we really need right now. It is desperate times. But also, you get ad-free versions of all the shows. Your support replaces the advertisers, which is for us really a great win. You also get the Discord. You get a lot more benefits. If you will, please go to twit.tv/clubtwit. $7 a month, less than a very poor coffee in Las Vegas. Trust me, I know.
And a hell of a lot cheaper than the information, I can tell you.
Yeah.
That's true.
Okay, look, we're not as good as the information.
We don't stake out Sam Altman's place
No.
and count pizza boxes. No.
Yeah, we're about it. Oh, I don't know. Let's say we're about a tenth as good as the information.
We're definitely a lot funnier than the information.
We're a lot weirder than.
And that is the Twit promise.
Yeah.
Can the information take us over as their comedy arm?
Oh God, I wish the comedy arm of the information. I'd love that.
Wouldn't that be great?
Twit.tv/club twit. Our show today brought to you. Actually, we run a forum. I call it a forum. Nowadays, Discourse is so much more than a forum at twit.community, and we've been using Discourse as the software for years. In fact, it's a server managed. This is where I wrote my opening statement, right? Based on the show that you guys did on Sunday. This is really our comment section. We didn't want to use commenting on YouTube. I turned that off because it's just uncontrollable. Instead, every show gets an entry here, and your comments are very much appreciated. There are lots of conversations about a lot of things. I'm not doing an ad for Twit Community. I'm doing an ad for the software it's running, Discourse. Discourse is phenomenal. It made it so easy to create an online home for our community. You should do the same for yours. For over a decade, Discourse has made it their mission to make the internet a better place for online communities. It's open source. That was really important to me. It's used by more than 20,000 online communities, including some of the largest companies in the world. It was John O'Bacon who told me about it. He said, don't you have a community? I said, no. He said, well, you got to get Discourse. He was absolutely right. DISCOURSE, like, discourse, like the word to talk with one another. By harnessing the power of discussion, they have real-time chat. We haven't turned that on, but that's very cool. They have AI. Discourse makes it easy to have meaningful conversations and collaborate with your community anytime, anywhere. And as the moderator, as the administrator of this discourse, let me tell you, they make it as easy as possible to run it yourself. I basically run it with the help of one volunteer, Paul. Thank you, Paul. It's just the two of us, and we run this very active, fascinating, wonderful community thanks to Discourse. If you're ready to create a community, visit discourse.org/twit. You'll get 1 month free on any self-service plan. Whether you're just starting out or want to take your community to the next level, there's a plan for you. If you've got a club or maybe just a big family, the basic plan is great for private, invite-only communities. A standard plan if you want unlimited members and a public presence. I think that's the one we're using. They do have business plans. A lot of companies use it for customer support. So if you want an active customer support community, you'll see this all the time. Discourse is fantastic. There's Jono himself. Community strategy, comms, a consultant and author of, People Powered. I was interviewing John about that book. He was absolutely right. There is nothing better than Discourse. One of the biggest advantages to creating your own community with Discourse is you own your own data. Privacy's job one. You'll always have access to all your conversation history. They'll never sell your data to advertisers. It's really nice to have. This is our space, our place. Discourse gives you everything you need in one place. Make Discourse the online home for your community. We love it. I can tell you, it's been great. Discourse.org/twit. 1 month free on all self-serve plans. Discourse.org/twit. We thank them so much for their support of This Week in Google. This Week in Google.
This Week in Testriel.
I just so hate that.
I know you hate that word. I know you hate it.
It's the worst.
But it's important.
Testriel just sounds great coming off your tongue. It rolls off the tongue.
Really?
Testriel.
It doesn't.
Paris does irony.
Is that what she's doing?
Yeah, that's what she's doing.
Allegedly.
We do have a lot more AI news. DeepMind. I'll just run through the headlines real quick. DeepMind, which is Google, right, releases a new music model. I still think we are a long way off from having AI-generated music, but they're doing. They're
arguing. They're using.
Oh, but AGI is around the corner, Leo. Sorry.
They can't make up a theme song for Twitter.
For Nick Cage's Face Off.
Some people can't sing. That doesn't mean they can't think.
I don't know.
Not all of us are musicians.
Have you seen X? There's a lot of people that can't think on that platform.
That same thing. Who's to say they're not?
By the way,
intelligent?
are you musical, Paris? Are you musical?
No, I can't think either, though.
I feel like you might have played.
Right.
What did you? I bet you played the saxophone in high school.
Oh yeah, I did. I feel so uncomfortably seen. Yeah, I did.
No, you're serious?
Yes. Yeah.
Paris, it's okay.
Nailed it.
I played saxophone too. It's okay.
Two of
You're
them.
correct. I mean, listen, it's a beautiful instrument.
It
What
is
can
a
I
great
say?
instrument.
What did you do to it?
But it'll break your heart, won't it, Paris?
It's true. Saxophone did things to me.
Yeah, it'll break your heart. As you were about
DeepMind.
Go ahead, Jeff.
They're saying that they're using approved music, and it's mainly to help the musicians, kind of just inspire them.
Or for YouTube tracks, right? Because they're doing it on YouTube. Listen to this.
Always looking for new ways to get inspired.
We got to take it down for
New
this.
ways to create great music and share their work.
Could they take us down for this?
Isn't this an ad? Shouldn't they like it?
You would think.
Fair use. Fair use.
All right, I'll stop. You don't want an ad, Google. You don't get an ad. This is, I think they say it uses a model called Lyria. It excels at generating high-quality music with instrumentals and vocals.
There's a few examples below.
Are there?
If you go lower the story.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. This is an AI-generated voice in the style of artist Charlie Puth. A ballad. So this is the prompt about how opposites attract.
We've got nothing in common.
Okay. If this were the Gong Show, that would be it. This one is T-Pain, who is, of course, famous for autotune, right? He introduced us to autotune.
Yeah.
Dream Track.
Well, not really, but he brought it back. I'll say that.
Oh, really? So it was around and then he...
It was Cher. It was Cher who brought it.
Oh, yeah. See, there it is.
I woke up in a...
Throw it away. Who invented autotune?
Well,
I don't know about
invented it.
Who did?
Antares, the company.
Antares.
Yeah, and then it's Cher that made it popular with the Who Do You Believe?
Oh.
Would You Believe?
But
Would
what
you
about
believe?
hold
that
on,
was
Mr.
before
Benito.
T-Pain?
No, that was for like using autotune as an effect.
As an effect, instead of trying to fix
Mr.
your
Autotune's been
Benito.
around for a long time.
Hold on, Mr. Benito. You got to go back to Zap, my man.
Zap, my man.
Come on, Zap. Roger and Zap. Computer Love.
Oh, Computer Love, yeah.
Yeah, you got to go back
No, but
to the 70s.
isn't that a digitally created voice? That's not auto-tuned.
Well,
Here, let's listen a little bit. As long as we're going to get taken down, why
he speaks
not?
into a tube.
We're going to go for the. We're going to go for the.
Speaks into the
trifecta.
tube, and the tube changes.
Oh, it's one of those speaking to the tube things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah. You know who invented that?
I don't.
Bob Heil.
Heil did?
Bob Heil.
Oh, really?
Host
Heil?
of Ham Nation.
Awesome.
Yeah. The man who invented these
Awesome.
microphones.
Wow.
Bob Heil. He tells a story. I should really let him. You could probably see it on one of our shows. But Peter Frampton's wife said, "I want to give Peter something lovely for his birthday." And Bob said, "I've got an idea. I'm going to make a tube that you put in your mouth. And you play a guitar, and it goes in a speaker that goes in the tube, that goes in your mouth, and then you do the mouth, ow, ow, ow.
It's called the talk box.
Into
That's
the
it.
microphone.
That
It's
was
called
it.
talk box.
Yeah.
And Peter loved it, couldn't put it down. Then Joe Walsh picked it up, and it became big and big and bigger. And
I hope they didn't
and then
use the same
Roger
one.
and Zap used it, and the rest is history.
Yeah, so that's not auto-tuned.
That's not auto-tune.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
mouth tube.
But like, but going back to AI music, like it's auto-tune and things like that that's preparing us for AI music, really.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah.
So originally, autotune
guess.
was supposed to get out of the way and just take a pitchy artist and put him on pitch. But then Cher said, "Do you all believe?"
Add an extra, a little more
Aren't there some
modulation.
famous cases of bad singers who used autotune to get on pitch?
All of them now.
Oh.
Really?
Have you
all of
ever
them now.
seen like when the I saw it on the Grammys a couple of years ago. The track went out and they had to sing, and they were singing.
Yes.
Was it
Yes.
Adele? Who was it? It was
And they were
Adele,
horrible.
I think.
Couldn't
Was
have been
like
Adele.
that. What?
Couldn't have been Adele.
A lot of
No,
the
Adele can actually sing.
she can
can-
sing,
she got
but she
pipes.
couldn't sing that.
Crosby,
high.
Stills, Nash, and Young with
They
that
can
close harmony,
sing.
man.
They can
Well,
sing.
they can, but no, man. Live without help.
Oh, you're
they were-
kidding. Oh, interesting.
Yeah, there's some bootlegs that tell you this. This is Paris. This is a group in our
I
age.
know who they are.
Ask your mother, Paris.
But it's
She'll
like it's not
remember.
like Bob Dylan would have been better with auto-tune, you know?
No,
That's
for sure. That's why I like people like Bob Dylan and Tom Waits. That's real singing. Meta
It should
release.
sound like they're about to cough something up. That's how you know. It's real.
Hallelujah. And Big Joe and Phantom. Google is embedding inaudible watermarks into its AI. Oh, now they tell me into its AI generated music. Oh my!
It's okay. It won't get
God.
taken down now.
Synth ID will be used to watermark audio from DeepMind's Lyria model, so it's possible to work out if Google's AI has been used in the creation of a track.
And then they're going to share revenue because this goes all over creation, and this is going to be a
Wow!
wonderful thing.
Can we edit that earlier portion of the show out? Oh,
just auto tune it so it won't recognize it?
actually, this is in response to at least The Verge says this. I think they're right. President Biden's executive order watermarking tools as a safeguard against the harms of deep fakes.
deep fakes. Yeah.
Which is a good thing.
If you watermark it, at least we can say, oh yeah, you know what, that looks real or sounds real, but it's not.
But wasn't there a recent announcement from Stability AI and them using video, coming up with the
Can
video
you
product?
believe the video? Have you seen it?
I didn't imagine that. Okay.
Yeah. Stability. So last
Was
week
it
we showed
Stability
Runway.
AI?
Yeah, it was Stability AI. Last week we showed Runway. This week, the other big Stable Diffusion, folks who are the ones that you could do in your own home, so to speak. Let me see if I can find that, because I did bookmark that. I don't know where I put it. There were so many stories this week. I can't find it. But yeah, there's if you look at I probably just Google it.
Yeah.
Stable diffusion video. Some pretty, I think we're not far off from very good quality video.
Yeah.
Artificially generated. Now this looks kind of fakey. There's a
robot would never sit in bed like that.
Not like that.
Robots can't sleep.
They don't need covers.
That black dude didn't blink one time.
Yeah, no blinking. Here's two blue jays.
See, we're the experts here.
Yeah, I could detect that ice dragon in the mountains. I think it's
that
great.
looks very real.
It's great for illustration. Hey, they didn't need to fake the moon landing; they could have just generated it with AI, right?
It's true.
But I think
would never kiss.
We're still in that uncanny valley a little bit, but I think we're getting closer, surprisingly closer. Runway did some amazing stuff now. Stability, and the thing about Stable Diffusion is you can run it on your own PC.
Mm-hmm. If you got the hardware.
Yeah. Speaking of AI, well, let's do this. Let's do the changelog. I got some AI in the
There's a changelog?
Yeah. It's called This Week in Google, you know.
Oh.
Wait, really? I'm on the wrong show.
You joined the wrong Zoom.
Okay.
I'm so glad Paris is here.
Okay. Google Meet can now detect when you raise your hand. See, if Sam Altman had just said, hey, wait a minute, call on me.
I'm here.
I'm talking. So the idea is, usually you have a button that says, I'd like to speak next. Now you can just go like that.
Sure.
Amazing.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, you tell me that it's not.
Couldn't you just do that anyway? Like, what?
You could just raise your hand.
The camera's on. Raise your hand.
There was a team of 1,000 people who dedicated a year of their lives to this.
And now,
There are
when
millions
you raise
of dollars
your
have been
hand,
spent
a
on
little yellow hand shows up on the title bar to show that you've got your hand up.
That's the hand that counts.
Yeah.
It's true.
Boy, I didn't. That's a good point. I didn't even think of that. When do you need it? When do you
Mr.
need
Benito.
Benito, right on. This is a big story, and I think a little worrisome. Google has announced that starting in June of next year, they're going to roll out Manifest V3. This was very controversial because it would block some extensions. Now, Google's saying, well, that's for your safety. But among other things, the extensions it blocks are ad blockers.
Well, it blocked Google ads.
It won't block Google ads. It'll block the ad blockers that block Google ads. So you block Origin, which we use.
This is going to be the thing that'll finally get me off Google Chrome, I guess.
Be. A lot of people are saying that. Yeah. Do you use an ad blocker now on Google Chrome?
Yeah, I do. I don't even know what the name. I use Ghostery.
Ghostery's good.
I love Ghostery.
Ghostery will probably not continue to work.
It already doesn't work on YouTube, which
right.
sucks.
Well, that's the other story. If you use an ad blocker on YouTube, this is not happening to me, but people are reporting that you will get a 5-second delay in the launch of the video.
Didn't know.
Well, it's not even that. If you use an ad blocker on YouTube and Google Chrome, they won't let you use it. It says you have to turn off your ad blocker, which never used to be the case.
Right. And then if you do, there are ad blockers that supposedly get around this. And so the other response is to slow things down. Some are saying it's not just the ad blocker. If you use Firefox on YouTube, it'll slow you down. Now,
but Google said no.
Google says no. And, I pay for Google for YouTube Premium, and it's certainly instant load there. But let me go into a private window, right? Then it wouldn't know that I'm a customer. I wouldn't be logged in, right? Let's see.
Well, I'm using Brave,
and
I use their shields up, and it seems to be playing okay for me.
Let me just launch the new Mr. Beast, because he only has 74 million views, and I really need to help him out.
Mr. Beast.
I spent 7 days buried alive. See, that played right away. I'm getting ads.
Well, you don't have an ad blocker.
Ah.
Yeah, bad test, Leo. You're the guy who decides what's intelligent, huh?
No, wait, slow down. Because people were contending it was merely the fact that you weren't using Chrome in addition. But at least in my experience, no. So anyway, I don't know what the what the deal is, but I do know that V3 is coming in June. Google says so. Firefox says, the Google's excuse that it's more secure or more private just doesn't hold water. So does the EFF. Google EFF also says Google's lighter on resources argument doesn't hold water. So I think that Manifest V3 is really probably all about stopping the ad blockers, because that's Google's business, is showing you those ads, right?
Yeah.
Google Maps. So, I saw a tweet from a former Google Maps person who says, I don't like the new design. And the San Francisco Chronicle says the new look may frustrate California drivers. The old look is on the left. It had highways and freeways standing out yellow against other roads. After the update, they're gray.
I used it today, and it was making a whole swaths of property were green, which used to mean it was parkland. And then part of it's green, part of it's gray, just the land for no reason. You can't figure out why it's suddenly green or gray.
But do you have that problem in dark mode, though?
Well, what color are the highways? Are they yellow?
I wouldn't know.
Dark mode looks good right now.
Maybe this is all a way to get you to use dark mode, right?
Yeah, dark mode looks lovely.
Impossible.
That's all I've ever used, and looks.
Are you a dark mode hater?
Yes, he is.
Oh, you didn't know that?
What? You like your eyes burning?
Just give it
Paris,
up,
this is when we say bless his
I dance
heart.
at NFT parties, yeah.
So I'm in
Jeff's a third-degree burn fan.
This is light mode, and you see, they've gotten rid of the yellow that distinguished highways from byways. I guess that's what people are not liking. Okay.
It's not great.
Let me go to dark mode though, just out of curiosity.
I mean, it's gray on gray, which isn't great.
Yeah. I can't even figure
Accidental.
out. I can't figure out how to get.
The deep pause as you try to figure out how to turn on
get
dark
to dark
mode.
mode. What is
I think it was setting in.
Trying to protect you from yourself, Leo.
Where's the dark mode on this thing?
Okay, long touch on the brightness when you pull down the control center.
Oh, aren't you?
Then
No, you're on an
bottom
Android.
left-hand corner.
A long touch.
Dark mode.
Dark mode on.
There you go.
Until
There you go.
sunrise. Okay, now let's go to the maps, and it's still light, so.
Because that worked.
Because it's the afternoon.
We've spent way too
Go to
much
dark
time on
mode
this. I don't
at
care.
night. It's afternoon out there.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, I think it's just you need to change the settings in Google.
And
Maps.
here's a huge story for Android users. You will still be a green bubble, but your green bubble will now be seen on the iPhone. Apple has announced next year, probably in response to the EU's DMA, the Digital Marketing Act, will start to support RCS, the Rich Communication System that Google's been flogging, actually trying to guilt Apple into adopting for more than a year. RCS is end-to-end encrypted, has a lot of the modern features that Apple's Messages has, and finally Android users won't be kind of on parity with Apple users and be able to interoperate, which is what the Digital Markets Act is all about, is forcing companies that have a large market share to interoperate so that you aren't stuck. Google says...
Wait.
Go ahead.
Is this going to mean like that you'll be able to be in group chats in the same way you would with an iMessage, or you could do the little tap back reacts like a...
Yes,
That's
but
great. Well,
you'll be
it's
a green
great.
bubble.
That's fine, but it does remove one of my favorite pranks, which is having a green bubble in like a green bubble group chat when you're an iPhone user, and then everybody likes their message, so they're just sent like 20 different messages that say like Paris liked your message that says
that's
this.
how Android handles this now. Is it repeats the entire message?
Entire message.
Yes,
so annoying.
and says
Annoying.
Paris liked entire message. It's
that's
really
not the
funny.
Right, that's not the.
So Leo has said that Apple wasn't going to implement the entire protocol. What did they leave out? Do you know?
Oh, that's a good question. They're adding some features. For instance, Apple will add the ability to drop a pin where you are using RCS. Google said, quote, they're happy to see Apple take their first step today by coming on board to embrace RCS. So they declare victory. Meanwhile, Google will, quote, look forward to working with Apple to implement this on iOS in a way that works well for everyone. Yeah, good luck on that. Apple did say you'll have read receipts, high-resolution images and videos. That's one thing Google, remember, in their ads were saying, oh, you get blurry pictures, better group conversations, location sharing. Apple said it wants to work with the GSM Association, which sets the standard for RCS, to add strong encryption to the RCS specification. I think that's a good thing, and I think you can thank the EU for this. I don't think Apple would have done this if the EU hadn't forced them to. So good news for Android users.
Thanks, EU.
Thank you, EU. And that's
a simple pleasure.
A simple pleasure. And the Google changelog. See how I smoothly incorporate your input into the show?
Oh, I appreciate that.
Pretty impressive, isn't it? Actually, we were talking about Claude, Anthropic's Claude now. They kind of leapfrogged ChatGPT. Remember, at the OpenAI Developer Day, Sam Altman announced 128,000 tokens. Claude says, we could do 200,000 tokens now, which is a lot. That's around 150,000 words or 500 pages of text.
I think a lot of people are going to hedge their bets and start going to Anthropic.
We use Claude.
I know you do.
Anthony loves Claude.
Yep.
But Anthony uses it all, I think.
I used it yesterday.
Yeah. And I showed you last week. I'm really happy with these GPTs that you can create with ChatGPT. And I tried to, and I think I succeeded creating the same, roughly the same quality artificial expert locally, using some local software, downloading local models, and adding the same training materials.
That's what I like about yours, is you're in total control.
So it does not go to the cloud. I could
Yeah.
be in an airplane offline, and no information goes up to these other companies, which I think is good. And it worked. I just should say, I was talking about it last week, but I actually was able to get it working pretty well.
That's good stuff.
Paris now has her very own saxophone CD. We just want to tell everybody
Thanks,
it's available.
guys.
Well, we did find it in the bargain bin for 99 cents.
I mean, that has to be a misprint, but
Paris,
see, this is why you guys gotta join the club. You can get these exclusive releases.
Mouthpiece Martineau, soothing sounds for wiping on your first run at Raphael.
Oh, that's awesome.
Is that something? Is that a reference to something Baldur's Gate or something? What is that?
I have no idea.
I mean, maybe it's I guess, yeah. That could be a run for. That could be a Baldur's Gate 3 reference.
Yeah.
I mean, it would make sense. I'm not going to explain it because I think it would.
Yeah. As with most
spoil a great
musicians,
thing.
you like to be a little cryptic.
I do. I think it's really up to the audience to interpret. And if I give a straight answer, then I'm really denying them creative control.
Very nice.
Is there anything going on with Google and Epic since that whole lawsuit went into play? Are they still going on?
I think the trial's still going on. I can't remember if Google's done testifying.
Because I saw that, but then I also saw that Spotify was able to work a deal out with Google.
Yes.
So
that came out in the testimony that Google had made a pretty sweet deal with Spotify, so that they didn't take as big a cut there.
Why not with Epic?
Good question. Good question.
I tried to bring a Google story this whole.
Sarah Silverman lost her lawsuit.
Which one? Oh, with the
She lost most of it, not all of it.
Federal judge overseeing a lawsuit against AI art generators ruled. Well, he actually mocked.
He did.
Shut up, Siri. He
wrong show, Siri.
Siri, that's the
Siri's not very intelligent.
The federal judge has dismissed most of Sarah Silverman's lawsuit against Meta over the unauthorized use of her copyrighted books to train their AI. This is the second ruling from a court siding with AI firms on these novel intellectual property questions, says The Hollywood Reporter, which, by the way, is my legal go-to when it comes to court decisions.
Well, all right.
I always want to know what The Hollywood Reporter has to say. U.S. District Judge Vince, now this has to be a typo. Chabria. There are two H's. Chabria, like Chia.
I'm not touching that.
Judge Vince Chia on Monday offered a full-throated denial of the author's core theories that Meta's AI system is itself an infringing derivative work made possible only by information extracted from copyrighted material. Judge Chia said, "This is nonsensical." Nonsensical. You don't see judges saying that.
But you say, that's
this
bad.
This is nonsensical. There is no way to understand the llama models, that's Meta's LLM, themselves as recasting or as a recasting or adaptation of any of the plaintiff's books. So Chia gave her lawyers a chance to replead the claim along with 5 others that weren't allowed to advance. Meta did not move to dismiss the allegation of copying, which sounds like Meta wants it to go on because they would like a full and thorough
so they didn't ask for
victory.
The full,
Yeah.
I think this is why, by the way, Google and OpenAI have announced that they, you said this last week or week before last, but I think it's even better judgment that they're indemnifying because they think they're really going to win.
Right. And you know what? They should, honestly.
Yep.
I think they should. I mean, I love Sarah Silverman. I'm not knocking her. But that's a fair use. That's a derivative work.
Yep.
And nobody's going to say, "Oh, I don't have I read the Meta summary of Bedwetter. I don't have to buy the book. I bought the book. It's worth getting. Buy the book." I don't think it hurts her sales.
No.
Although I have to say, speaking of court cases, Elon Musk is suing Media Matters because Media Matters pointed out, not incorrectly, and he's not even asserting that ads for big companies showed up next to anti-Semitic posting. I love Mike Masnick's headline. He says,
the best.
"Congrats to Elon Musk. I didn't think you had it in you to file a lawsuit this stupid, but you crazy bastard, you did it."
Love Mike.
Tears
He is
it
the best.
apart in this article.
7 problems.
He says, "Honestly, this feels like what you get when you have a rich but legally ignorant dude who announces on Friday there'll be a lawsuit on Monday and finally finds some terrible lawyers who are actually willing to find something just to live up to this promise." He says, "It's not a good lawsuit. It's barely even a lawsuit at all. In fact, as an example, one of the defendants in the lawsuit is the Media Matters reporter who wrote the article. The suit says that Media Matters defamed Twitter or X, or as I like to pronounce it, but then doesn't include a defamation claim. They say it's defamatory, but doesn't in fact claim it.
After having said that it's true.
And in fact admits, well, it's true, but they had to go to great lengths to make it happen. What were the great lengths? They had to follow a bunch of anti-Semites and a bunch of brands. And then, lo and behold, the ads showed up next to the anti-Semitic posts. Eric Hananoki, who did the research and wrote the article, the lawsuit names him but never makes a single claim against him.
Yeah.
It does mention, mostly in footnotes, that Hananoki has written articles critical of Musk.
But if you file a lawsuit against a particular party, you have to say their name. So well done.
The lawsuit insists advertisers bailed because of this article, but conveniently leaves out the fact that the day before Elon endorsed an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. That might have had something to do with it. Anyway, it's a terrible lawsuit. This is maybe the biggest problem. It's filed in the wrong place.
Yeah.
Twitter, or ex-Twitter, is a Nevada corporate entity based in California. Media Matters is based in D.C. For some reason, they sued in Texas. It wasn't for some reason. It's that this particular court doesn't have a anti-slap law. So the defendant can't come back and say, okay, now you owe me money for a frivolous lawsuit.
But there's no standing. at all.
That's the problem. You have to prove that somebody in this jurisdiction was injured, but none of them are in this jurisdiction. It says, the complaint, Mike writes, doesn't make an effort to do any of that. It just says, quote, a substantial part of the events giving rise to the claims occurred herein. Okay. So the judge will throw it out just for standing alone, probably, and not even anything else. But Elon did what he said he was going to do. He went thermonuclear. He filed a lawsuit. But speaking of lawsuits, Trump's Truth Social parent. Does this scare you as a member of the Fifth Estate, Paris, suing 20 media outlets for saying that it had lost money?
Whoa! So scared.
Lawyers for Trump Media said in a lawsuit filed Monday in state court in Sarasota County, Florida, that we didn't lose 70. That's an utter fabrication, and accused 20 news outlets of deliberate, malicious, and coordinated attack against Truth Social, including The Guardian and Reuters.
This is what insurance is for.
Yeah.
And their lawyers.
Yeah.
I think it seems to me in this country you cannot sue somebody for saying something you don't, a journal or a member of the press for saying something you don't like, or kind of criticizing you in an article.
Well, you can sue someone
for
whether or not it's a valid lawsuit and will last in court longer than the judge can throw it out is the question. Right. But anyone could file a lawsuit ostensibly.
So apparently Reuters did make a mistake. And I guess everybody carried the Reuters story is probably what happened. Reuters says, we dispute any allegations that we defamed Truth Social or intended to harm Truth Social. We corrected our mistake as soon as they made us aware of it, consistent with our trust principles.
What was the mistake?
Reuters and some other publications said they reached the wrong figure by incorrectly counting a $50 million profit for 2022 as a loss. So, I mean, that's a pretty big mistake.
That is a big mistake.
But they retracted it.
That's not how libel works, you know?
Right. No. Especially, you have to prove intent, right? You have to prove malicious intent. A mistake is a mistake.
And a wanton disregard for the truth.
Yes. Not just bad arithmetic. If they had shown their math.
Show your math.
Perhaps.
That's the thing. Show your math,
kids. Here's, according to Variety, you were mentioning Spotify's new royalty model. Mm-hmm. I
was mentioning the deal they got.
The deal they got with Google. Well, there is a new royalty model starting next year, and I think this is completely reasonable. Tracks that earned less than 1,000 streams within a year, no royalties for you. And those payments are so low, and they're usually absorbed by the label and don't go off to the artist anyway.
It's all absorbed by the label.
Yeah, well, that's the truth.
Yeah.
That's actually the truth. Says Benito, who knows? Because how much have you made on your music on Spotify?
Oh, on Spotify, zero. I don't put my music on Spotify.
Oh, well, there you go. Where do you put your music?
Bandcamp.
Bandcamp.
Put them.
You know, one time in Bandcamp.
Wrong show.
Oh yeah, I shouldn't tell that story. Involving a flute and a saxophone. According to Spotify's loud and clear website, just 37.5 million tracks out of the more than 100 million on Spotify have surpassed 1,000 streams. Just about a third. 2/3 don't go more, because of course not, right?
Yeah.
Wait. Paris, were you in the marching band too?
No, I'm not that nerdy. I was in competitive theater and improv.
Wait a minute. What's competitive?
But that's not nerdy.
How do you serious?
It's a different type of nerdy. It's just a different type.
Were you an intramural competitor, or did you actually play in a league?
Varsity
acts?
It is a thing called thespians, and you'd have a troupe that represented from your high school, and it was quite big in Florida. I believe like the biggest in the U.S. And so you would go to district competitions and compete against all the other high schools in your district. You'd get certain marks. If you got a high enough score, you could go to state and compete there. I went to state on a pantomime once.
Oh, let's see it. I want to rate Breeze. Were you
It was a Joan of Arc solo. It was a pantomime, but you could create a soundscape for it. I did. I made people cry, which is what got me to stage.
Oh my!
In a famous battle, was because at districts, if you get the highest of the highest ranks for your whole for the whole pantomime like group, you will be invited up on main stage to perform in front of the entire district. And I lost out by 1 point to a 16-person pantomime group that formed their bodies to be a dragon. And I was like, this is unfair. I am one girl, and you are a 16-person dragon.
Okay, I'm the Flames. Okay. The Flames are come on, Joan. The Flames are coming for you.
You gotta.
Did you go like this?
I was. No, I was tied to the stake.
Tied to the stake.
So you have to, and the piece de la resistance. I had to emote that much more, but then at the end, you kind of like see.
I'm scared to see what Joe's going to do to this.
Paris, your parents are right there. I know they have video of this. We
are in no way finding that archival footage. I'm sure it exists.
So cute. That is so adorable.
Oh, that's so great.
And the sad thing is, Jeff, we were actually doing this show when she was in high school.
Yeah, I know.
Listen, we're not going to think too hard about that.
It's amazing that Florida can even turn pantomime into a competitive sport.
It really is, actually.
That's a real skill of some kind.
I respect that.
How cutthroat is it? Is it like really cutthroat?
It's so cutthroat. Florida, or at least... This could be, I tried to find facts to back this up. I couldn't find any facts about the state by state amount, but what we were told is that Florida is so competitive. We had, I think, like more than 100,000 people that would compete at state or try to get into it. So people who won state would never even go to nationals because they're like, the competition is so much weaker.
Yeah.
So it's pitch perfect with no pitch.
It's pitch perfect,
Silent.
but I mean, they have pantomime was just one small part of it. They'd have,
Did they have
solo
Shakespeare?
musical. Yeah, solo musical acts, dramatic monologues. They have ones where you could write and perform one act play, anything theatrical you could think of.
That's actually great to encourage. And when we say pantomime, you're not doing a mime. You're not white face and striped shirt with gloves.
It is like you'd have to design a soundscape for it, which would be played.
Oh, that's neat.
But you're silent and
you have to
doing
act
and
stuff.
acting it out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Is it broad or is it like real? Is it like you try to make it realistic or is it fairly broad?
It depends.
Yeah.
You could do either.
Yeah.
Where's the mockumentary about this? I want it now.
It'd be great.
Yes.
documentary.
That's a great.
Oh, God,
yes. I have so many questions. You designed your own soundtrack? Did you use existing music or did you
I did use existing music, but then
saxophone.
also different sound effects. Like I went and I looked for a
Crackling
lot of
of fire.
different fire burning ones.
I think we need Molly Shannon reenacting this.
I think I know we're being silly.
Sure.
I think that's super cool. I think that's great.
It is. It actually
It
is.
was really fun. It
Letting
was a great
theater
thing to
kids
do in high school.
be respected and
I respect the competition.
Instead of just like the nerdy kids and the football players get all the attention. Did you have to wear your mime suit on game day or?
I think my mime suit was just clothes.
Wait. Did you get a leather sweater for this?
No, but we should have. We should have made. I mean, we had like T-shirts and stuff like that, but no jackets, which is a mistake looking back on it.
Oh man!
I starred in the school play in Garden City, Long Island, playing Walter Hollander, Jewish caterer from Newark, New Jersey, in Woody Allen's "Don't Drink the Water."
Oh, what a great play!
Oh,
No,
I was Sheridan Whiteside in The Man Who Came to Dinner.
Whoa!
In high school, and I have the first line of the play, which is, "You great dribbling cow!"
Said 5 pitches higher at the age.
Hey, Knock it off, you great dribbling cow! No, I was in high school. I had it. My voice had changed.
Best show title ever.
You have the touch of a sex-starved cobra. And it's sure. You say that off stage, and then you're in a wheelchair, and you roll out in the wheelchair. And the whole premise is you're Sheridan Whiteside, who is a famed theater critic, but very acerbic, who breaks his leg on the leaving this house after a lunch of this poor suburban woman, and they have to put him up all winter, and he's a terror. It's a great play, The Man Who Came to Dinner.
You took break a leg a bit too serious.
Starved cobra.
You could look it up. Anyway, Spotify.
Okay, I'm sorry I did that, but I'm not.
1,000 streams in a 12-month period is $3. So it ain't a lot of money that you're giving up. The other thing they changed, and this is interesting. Apparently, there are a lot of what they call functional tracks, white noise, rain on a rooftop, environmental sounds, and you will not make money on those unless somebody listens for 2 minutes or more. No payouts on 5 seconds. Like people go, oh, it really is rain on a roof. Never mind. You don't get any money for that. The reason Spotify is doing that is because apparently they have been paying out a lot of money to these, and they said the new minimum will shift tens of millions of dollars a year into the royalty pool. So it could make a significant difference in royalties.
What about the podcast platform? How is that?
They've given up on that. I think they really... The only thing they make money on, of course, Joe Rogan is still there. And as long as Rogan stays, they're going to make money on it. But they fired the person in charge of podcasting. They shut down the podcast studios. Remember Megan and... what's his name? Harry? The Spare? We're going to do a podcast series, and they decided not to. And I think the Obamas also had plans, and they gave them money, and then they didn't do it. And,
Who's Your Daddy? Call Me Daddy or something other.
Call Her Daddy has got this.
That's a big one.
Frosted my. What is it that gets frosted?
Patootie.
I was waiting
Frosted
for you to
my
finish
whatever.
Yeah.
My giblets, because she got $20 million a year for 3 years for that podcast. Is that a good podcast? Do you listen? It's for women. It's not
No, I don't listen to it.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it's good. It doesn't frost my giblets.
Which is, by the way, appropriate the day before Thanksgiving. Many of you, in fact, you might consider this a reminder to take your giblets out of the freezer.
Yeah.
Because
Take your giblets out of the freezer, put some frosting on them. Put them back in the freezer.
No, please do not.
It's time to defrost the giblets because Thanksgiving's tomorrow. In fact, I think if you haven't started, it's probably too late.
Too late.
Paris, what are you having for Thanksgiving tomorrow?
Our Florida tradition is we deep fry a turkey in a vat of oil out in the driveway.
Who does that? Who's responsible?
My dad does it. He sits out in a chair by the turkey.
He's awesome.
And,
He's awesome.
make sure it doesn't explode. I'll be making stuffing.
You have seen the deep fried turkey videos.
Oh, yes. I've seen all the videos, and I stay far away from it because I am a nervous person and assume every year that is going to happen to me.
Firefighters demonstrate why you shouldn't deep fry a turkey.
Dad, let's show this to Dad.
Basically,
the issue is he thinks of this as a challenge.
So the key on this is to make sure that the oil does not overflow when you put the turkey in it. And does he put it in
make sure that your turkey is not frozen?
It's fully thawed, right? And dry.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. This looks horrific in the backyard. I think this would be kind of the end of Thanksgiving.
It is a cone of fire for those who are listening to the show.
It's good though if it works.
Incredible.
So you do this every year?
Every year we've done it for a long period of time. Yeah.
Does he have a special thing to put it in, or is it just a barrel?
It's just like it's like a long stock pot.
Big stock pot.
Yeah, you could buy the thing. Yeah.
It's sitting out in the garage right now. Mm-hmm.
So once a year, this thing gets filled with like 20 gallons of Wesson oil, and some poor turkey gets incinerated.
Yeah.
How long do you cook it?
Oh, it's quick, right?
It's a great question.
No, it ain't
I don't
quick.
know.
It ain't
Dad
quick.
knows.
It takes
Dad
a while.
It's like a year. It's like a year. It's an hour or two. I don't know. It isn't that long because I know whenever the turkey goes in that we have to speed up the rest of the cooking.
Yeah, it's pretty quick.
Because it has a set period of time.
And then what is
What
it?
else
You
do you
said
have?
you
It's
make
right
the
at
you
an
make the
hour, I
you make the
believe.
stuffing, or as you call it,
Yeah,
in the South,
I make
dressing.
dressing.
Yeah.
I call it stuffing. It doesn't get stuffed inside the turkey because the turkey's deep fried. But
And
changes.
it's
Stuffing is my
unhealthy
favorite part.
to do that. You should always make the stuffing separately. You don't
I-
use stovetop. You make it from scratch.
yeah, I do it from scratch, and it's delicious.
But you're not
What do you
silly
guys
enough
make?
to dry your own bread cubes. You just go get the Pepperidge Farm bread.
No, I have. I this morning got up after I was done doing my OpenAI story, making sure the copy is out, and I tore apart my
You do?
French bread,
The
and
real
it's
deal.
sitting on top of the oven right now,
Drying
so it gets
out.
stale.
Oh,
Yeah,
The whole, really, all stuffing is bread soaked in grease.
Yes.
I mean, yes, but there's other things, you know.
There's
you
some
gotta
celery.
get the
Sage.
celery
Sage.
stuff.
oysters? Anybody do oysters?
Oh, God,
Yes,
no.
oysters too.
Really? Mm-hmm. That's because you're
Oysters
Southern.
in stuffing.
Southern.
Yep.
Oh, it's disgusting.
Ooh,
Oysters is
that's a
good,
great
yeah.
idea.
My,
good.
I don't
my
know.
grandmother did Italian dressing or stuffing, which includes Italian sausage and orange juice, which makes it moist, and it's quite good.
And another difference, she said a baguette, essentially.
Yeah.
We use cornbread.
Yeah, French
Cornbread.
bread. Oh, cornbread is a
Cornbread,
good
yeah.
idea.
It would fall apart, wouldn't it?
No,
You
dude.
dry it out. That's the whole point. You dry it first.
out,
Yeah.
and then you bake it and all that
Then
good
you-
old fat.
God, I
and
love
juices.
cornbread.
Oh,
So
yes.
what else is going to be on the table, Paris?
Mashed potatoes.
Mashed potato. What kind of vegetable? Is there a vegetable of any sort?
There's definitely
Cheese.
vegetables.
Cheese is a vegetable. Yeah.
You know, I haven't asked that many questions. I think there's probably going to be cream spinach. I think people are bringing
Love cream
things.
spinach. Oh, you're gonna.
There's probably going to be some salads.
How fun! Are there any
Everybody's
traditions? Do y'all
making
play
pies
Do y'all
right
play
now.
Jenga afterwards or anything? Are there any traditions?
I don't think so. I mean, we have coffee afterwards. We'll probably get roped into a card game of some sort.
Nice.
I am bringing a Google Chromecast because we're going
course.
to a family member that doesn't have cable.
Dope.
And there happen to be three, not one, not two, but three football games
Yep.
with the Niners game at the end, the capper.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they don't have cable. So I have to bring the Chromecast and set it up so we can watch football
TV.
all day.
Yeah, football will be playing.
Uncle Joe was going to cook the turkey. He has a barrel cooker made out of an actual barrel he made.
Nice.
Oh, that's fun.
They did an experimental one, smart actually, last week, and it was basically turkey leather.
Yeah.
So they left it in a little too long. So it got vetoed. It's like, nope, you're going to make tri-tip, and we're going to get a turkey breast and cook that. What are you doing, Ann? I bet you do a nice Thanksgiving.
I'm actually low key in it this time because, quite frankly, I'm tired.
Yeah.
I've been a little busy.
Yeah.
So I'm just gonna do a prime rib.
I think prime rib is actually
lovely.
fantastic. Nobody wants turkey.
Just do a
Turkey's
prime-
pretty mid.
Normally I do a whole schmeal, you know, a whole lot of food, but no, it's just gonna be prime rib and taters and something green.
2 years ago, I got O'Docta's macaroni and cheese recipe.
Yeah, normally I do that. I'm not doing that either. That's
It's
energy.
a southern macaroni and cheese. It involves taking a chunk of cheddar and pushing it into the macaroni.
And lots of butter.
So,
That's
and lots
right,
of
yeah.
butter. I mean, it's so cheesy. It was good. And then I thought, well, I'm going to make two batches. I'm going to make one with Calabrian peppers, which gives it a nice heat and little red specks throughout it, and one plain for the wusses. And that came out quite well.
So I'm so American. I'm so heartland. I had to suffer through what was a tradition, which was green Jello mold with cherries and cottage cheese.
Oh,
God.
Bless your
Oh, it was
heart.
awful.
that's so
Just
50s.
awful.
That's 50s.
Yes. Oh yeah, that's what I grew up with. Yep.
Yikes.
What are
Well,
you
we
doing?
just
What
want
are
to
you
wish you
cooking?
all a happy Thanksgiving from Twig.
Hey.
There we are.
Who gave me the thick neck?
I don't want to say anything, but I think that's a lady's pilgrim outfit.
Wow, Gizmo's there too. I love this.
Gizmo is there, your
Cannon
kitty
can.
cat. And you're holding I don't know
I'm
how
holding
many.
a D20.
Yeah, a 20-sided die.
No, that's the test. That's the
Tesseract.
That's from Baldur's Gate. Yeah,
That's the thing. Oh, don't
That's the
say what
test
that
reel.
is. That's what that
I'm
girl
not gonna
is.
say what that
She's
is.
holding that. I
Yeah.
keep asking her, what are you holding? What do you got? What is that?
can't tell you.
She won't
Nothing.
tell me.
It's nothing.
There's something fun inside that.
Oh. By the way, I am a sorcerer, I found out.
Great, that's
Yeah.
the one to be.
I think it's
We
fun.
gotta live stream Baldur's Gate.
Okay. Because I got a little farther. I found the switch behind the statue.
Oh, that could be a great club. Yeah,
it'd be a lot of fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you found the Grove, Leo?
No, not yet.
Okay, you are so far from the beginning of the game.
I know. Wow. I can only do a little at a time. Apparently there's sex in it, right?
There's every character in Baldur's
Motivation.
Gate is so horny.
Motivation.
It's so weird.
You can have sex with a bear.
The whole idea of video games was so you didn't
Video
have to think about
games
sex.
are ruining our society, I tell you.
You can have sex with a bear?
I mean, the bear is a person, but it's a bear.
It's a bear. Gives a whole new meaning to bare naked.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
Okay, well, there's our Thanksgiving episode. I hope you enjoyed it.
That's. I'm sure the Tescriel religion has something to say about having sex with bears.
Yeah.
Probably.
Is there? There's so many stories in here. But we've gone 2 hours and more. So let me do the last ad. We'll get our picks of the week. And if there's something that I missed, please pipe in with it after the ad. Our show today brought to you by Vanta. Oh, I love this. A growing business likely means, well, a growing tool set, right? More vendors, third-party vendors, more data sharing. And you know what that all means? Way more risk. Vanta was founded in 2018 after several, shall we say, high-profile data breaches. And, of course, over the years since, security has only become more important. Vanta understands firsthand how hard it is for fast-growing companies to invest the time and staffing to build a solid security foundation. Vanta was inspired by a vision to restore trust in internet businesses by enabling companies to improve and prove their security. Vanta brings your GRC and security efforts together. You can integrate information from multiple systems and reduce risks to your business and your brand, all without the need for additional staffing. And because Vanta automates up to 90% of the work for compliance for SOC 2, ISO 27001, and more, you can focus on strategy, security, not maintaining compliance. It's all done automatically. And by the way, G2 loves Vanta year after year. Here's some honest customer reviews from business leaders. This is from a chief technology officer. Quote, "There is no doubt about Vanta's effect on building trust with our customers. As we work more with Vanta, we can provide more information to our current and potential customers about how committed we are to information security. And Vanta is at the heart of it." The head of quality assurance and customer support said it's the best in automated compliance monitoring. Join 6,000 fast-growing companies like Chili Piper, Patch, and Autodesk that use Vanta to manage risks and prove security in real time. Try Vanta for free for 7 days by going to vanta.com/twig, VANTA.com/twig, TWIG, to start a free trial. No cost, no obligation. Vanta. Vanta.com/twig. And this message just in from MC Hammer. You can't touch this. Salute and congratulations to the 710 OpenAI team members who gave an unparalleled demonstration of loyalty, love, and commitment to Sam Altman and Greg Brockman in these perilous times. It was a thing of beauty to witness.
Okay, now I get it. Earlier when I saw this tweet, Mr. Howell showed it to me. I was like, what the heck does he have any type of ties to AI? I know he had some investments back in the days at TechCrunch, some startups, MC Hammer that is.
Yeah.
But now I get the message. Basically he's saying, look, people stood up.
They were loyal.
They stood up.
Yeah.
I love that MC Hammer was following this.
Yeah.
Wild.
I know.
It's just wild. Anything else? Parents are suing gaming companies over video game addiction. Seems like we've heard this story before.
Well, based on what you just mentioned in Baldur's Gate,
Yeah, she's not
Hey,
addicted.
that game's 18 plus.
Yeah, and you're not addicted. You're having fun.
No, I haven't played.
You
in a
could
while,
stop
actually.
anytime. Yeah. The lawsuit says that Microsoft, Epic Games, Activision, Blizzard, EA, and others use, quote, patented designs, algorithms, and marketing containing addictive features and technology leading to addiction. These designs and addictive features utilize data collection of minors, predatory monetization schemes, and feedback loops to keep players more engaged.
Sounds like social media to me.
Yeah. This is the same
Sounds
people.
like a newspaper to me.
Casey Dunn, the mother who filed the lawsuit on behalf of her child, said, "We never imagined when our son started playing video games that he would become so addicted that his education would severely suffer. He would lose all interest in spending time with his friends and turn to mime as a competitive activity."
The horror.
These video game companies have targeted and taken advantage of kids, prioritizing their profit over all else. As a mom, I knew I had to do something to ensure they don't get away with destroying the well-being and futures of our children. Now, this happens. I see this happen with kids all the time. Mm-hmm. But maybe the parents have something to say about it?
Maybe there's other issues.
Or there's
That's
other
the thing.
issues?
Yeah, that's the point. There are these kinds of obsessive behaviors, and it is a problem. But to think that it's caused by the machine,
I don't think it's caused
versus
by the game.
that's where
No.
it's
They turn to the game just as people turn to mime because they have a deep inner hole.
Once they hit the saxophone, you know they've gone too
That's
far.
We've got to lock those things up.
I want to be
Kids
clear.
keep getting handed them.
It ain't mime, it's pantomime. Okay? Big difference.
Read a book.
Read a book. Learn. You can't touch it.
Were you in the marching band, or no? You were in football, so you couldn't be.
I was part-time. I only marched in parade season because otherwise I was in a game. So, yeah.
So you did march.
But I was also in concert band and stuff too.
What's the best? Is the Ohio State marching band the best marching band out there?
No, that would be the Clemson
Yes.
South Kakalaki Tigers marching band is my favorite. But there's also LSU and Alabama. Their bands are really
They
good.
take it seriously.
Really, really, really good.
I
bands.
saw
What was the
video of the Clemson marching band. They come down a hill to get into the stadium.
The football team does.
The football team.
The football
Oh my
team
God, it was
does.
wild.
Yeah. It's the most exciting 25 seconds in college football.
And they have a law enforcement officer in front of him. He's running down the hill too.
Our head coach runs down the hill. It's a long, timeless tradition running down the hill at Death Valley.
But
Has anyone ever tripped?
I haven't seen that yet, but I've run down that hill, and boy, it's dangerous. It is.
All right.
It's
all right.
dangerous.
Now we got to watch it because we talked about it. Here it is. This is the hill. So why is it a hill going into the stadium?
Well, back in the days, the team had to make a change and come from that side because they were losing and needed some extra motivation, and they wanted to try to just stir up some more energy and scare the opponent and say, hey, here comes the Tigers running down the hill into Death Valley.
Painting yourself orange wasn't enough? So here's the hill. By the way, that's also probably because the stadium's below ground level,
it's down.
right?
Yeah, it's down in a hole.
Because the same thing with Lambeau Field. It goes down.
Let's get to it already. Jeez.
Where's the hill?
Yeah, where's the hill?
This is it. Well,
Here's the rock. They all touch the rock, right? As they're coming down the hill.
Yep, that's from Death Valley, California.
Why? What's the point? Oh, there's also a
is so
cannon
irritating.
involved. All right, I'll get the hill. I'm
Here's the
sorry.
hill. They're running down the
I
hill.
picked the bad. I don't know what this
You
is an
picked the wrong
ad.
Sure
video.
did.
I
Jeez.
picked a bad one. Here's, let's try this one. This is
Yeah,
against.
that's a fan
This
version.
is
So yeah,
This is at night. There's the hill. It's pretty
at
steep.
that.
It's like running down from the top of the stands to the bottom.
you can hurt yourself walking down that hill. That's the grade on it. It is
I would.
really steep.
A closer pick view of this.
Oh gosh, do I need to Google this for you?
Yeah, I'm Googled it, but all I got is like
Most exciting 25
distance.
seconds.
Oh, here they are coming in the bus.
Yeah, they take a
and the
bus.
police in front of them. And they're coming in. They're getting out of the bus.
Yep, and there's
Oh wait,
Coach
let's see this.
Sweeney.
We'll see the ride. So that's the coach running in from the bus.
Yep.
And then
Okay,
he comes
here we go.
down.
I don't know.
They're all,
The hill
there's the
doesn't look
rock.
that
Why?
steep.
Why from Death Valley? What makes that rock so special?
One of Coach Howard's assistant coaches was in California on a visit. And
brought back a rock. And everybody has to touch it.
And he put the rock at Coach Howard's door at his office. It was a doorstop.
Yeah.
And then they decided, well, let's put it at the top of the hill as a good luck charm and have them rub the rock.
Here they come. They're rubbing the rock. Let's turn up the sound.
This is the
36
best.
in a row wins.
Here they come. Clemson Tigers, ladies and gentlemen.
Go forward about 10 seconds because the band hasn't got to that part yet.
The band has to get to the
cannon.
Oh, wait a minute. I want to see the cannon. The cannon's fun. It's a little carbide cannon. They roll it out. That's what attracted me to the whole. There it is. There's the cannon.
There's the cannon.
And now they're running down. There's the Clemson Tiger. Here's the poor police officer has to run down.
He's skipping.
It's a steep hill.
And the players come after.
So I didn't know that was a tradition. That's pretty cool.
Yep.
They fire a cannon.
They should make it a big slip and slide one time.
The best part, though, is that would be. That's actually done at the end of the game, Miss Paris, the slip and slide.
The muddy slip and slide.
Yeah.
Wow.
The kids take cardboard and they slide down the hill.
So, the thing that's cool about this is how seriously they take this sport, right? This is life and death.
It's religion.
Yeah.
I mean, it is life and death. That hill's pretty steep.
Yeah. Oh, look at the
I'd
flags.
be trampled.
Then the fireworks come up.
This is it's pretty exciting. And that's college football, folks.
You don't get that over here.
That's pretty exciting.
Although Fresno State is pretty close to it.
When we were in Wisconsin at Lambeau Field, we got to come out of the tunnel.
I hate you so much.
And they have
so
rock
jealous.
from the old field. They have a rock that say every Bart Starr's walked over this. Curly Lambeau's walked over. Everybody walks over, touches it. And then they come out, and it's fun because part of the tour is they play the crowd sounds through loudspeakers as you're coming out of the tunnel. There's nobody in the stands, but you hear them. It's pretty damn exciting.
Oh, gosh.
You could see that would get you pumped up.
I would be in tears.
Yeah.
I know I would.
It was a great experience. If you ever get to go to Lambeau, it's where football began, I guess, or something. I don't know.
I love the cheeseheads.
Ladies and gentlemen, let us get
week.
our pick of the week from the wonderful saxophonist, well-known pantomimist,
mouthpiece,
and of course,
as they call me,
star reporter for The Information. Did you as a kid watch like Superman and say, "Hey, Lois Lane, that's the job for me"?
No, honestly, I didn't know I wanted to be a journalist until like partway through college.
And then you said, "This is." Yeah.
I mean,
What were you
I was pre-med, and I was one of the people who went into college, and I was like, I know exactly what I want to do. I want to be a psychiatrist.
Oh, nice.
Definitely the track for me.
Yeah.
I don't like chemistry, and biology's kind of boring. So I immediately was like, actually, this might not be the thing. And one of my friends we were like walking up the subway or something, and she turned back. She's like, I always thought like you'd be a journalist or something. And then I was like, oh.
Isn't it funny though how easily, I did the same thing. Somebody said you ought to go to the campus radio station because I was doing funny voices, and I did. And that one thing triggers something in you, and it changes your life.
I was the same way. I was going to go to law school and go into politics. Imagine that. And said, no, I don't. 3 more years of college? No. I looked around. I was on the college newspaper. So I said, how about that?
Nice.
Law school was my backup plan. I was like, if this journalism thing doesn't work out, I guess I could go to school again.
You'd be a good lawyer. I feel like you'd be a great lawyer.
You'd be a good lawyer.
People tell me this. Yeah.
Similar skills, I guess. The ability to take information, synthesize it.
You got to say yes, Your Honor. That's the problem I had.
This is the thing is I was recently called to jury duty, and I was so excited. I was like, I would be such a good person on a jury. They didn't even call me in. I sat in that room all day. They eventually dismissed me in New York because so many people go to jury duty. I have to wait another 8 years to get a chance to be a juror.
What? Here, it can happen every year, and it often does.
Oh, boy.
I got called
That'd
for
be
a
great.
federal
I'd
jury.
love it.
Did you ever see those Dateline To Catch a Predator Datelines where they set up a house, and then they get some poor schmuck, and they get an adult to pretend to be a kid and entice them to the house, and then the Dateline anchor is sitting there saying, hey, what are you doing coming to visit a 13-year-old? What's wrong with you? And then they arrest the guy. Oh. That was the trial.
Oh, boy.
I was in.
Oh, boy.
And I'm sitting. It was. You would have loved this, Paris, because I'm watching the whole thing, right? And they're showing video, and so we saw the whole prosecution case. We come back for the defense. I figured, well, this is gonna be interesting.
Yeah.
Because this poor. I felt like it was a little bit like the kid was serving in the army or something, and It's an adult pretending to be a kid, and it's very much entrapment. The judge says, you're all dismissed. This was entrapment.
Period.
We don't... The defense made a motion to dismiss, and the judge said, you're absolutely right. This is BS.
Yeah.
Threw it out. So I never got to finish the trial, but it was really fun. You're right. It's super cool. Of course, you miss a lot of work.
I love reading legal documents and complaints and stuff like that. I think it would be great to be in a...
Yeah, I know so many people who try to get out of jury duty, and I'm trying to get in.
God. I mean, that's the thing, is I know whenever I say this to my friends, they're like, you would be in there, they'd be interviewing you for the jury, and they'd see that you're excited and kick you out. They don't want someone who's excited about it.
No,
I haven't been summoned yet. Thank goodness.
Ever?
Never. Not yet.
Lisa gets
the last
summoned
time I was
every
called
year.
L.A. Law was on. That's how long ago this was. And I wrote a column in TV Guide. And I said to the judge when I was called in front, I said, I probably should tell you that I just wrote a column in a magazine with 25 million in circulation saying that I hate all lawyers.
Boom. That got you out.
Got him out of there.
I thought when I said, because at the time I was on the radio and on TV, I said, I thought that if I said that, they wouldn't want that. And I even said, Your Honor, I have to tell you, after the case is over, I'll probably talk about this. Didn't bother them. I wasn't trying to get out. I just wanted to be honest.
That's why we do it in public. Yeah.
Yeah. And I just talked about it, right? Because it's fascinating. Anyway, Paris, your pick of the week.
My pick of the week is, speaking of sports and radio, this live caller interaction between Stephen A. Smith and a man who calls in to try and ask him about Lightning McQueen from Cars.
Oh, man. I hadn't seen this.
We should play
the
first
Stephen
minute
A.
of this.
Smith.
It's really, really good.
Oh, wait a minute. I gotta get this all ready to go so we can hear it.
Stephen A. is great.
So where did you see this?
I don't even see it.
I saw this on Twitter. I don't. I've got the link on.
Yeah.
Oh,
I see
I'm
it.
looking at
Here we go.
Jeff's. I'm sorry. I'm looking at
Yeah.
Jeff's.
Here we go. You ready?
I'm with Stephen A. What's up, Danny? Talk to me.
Stephen A. Smith, when you think about the GOAT of sports, you think about Mike with 6, Brady with 7 rings. But where do you rank a guy like Lightning McQueen with 7 Piston cups?
I would tell you he wouldn't be the GOAT. How are you going to be the GOAT? Because you talk about the movie Cars, right? You talk about the movie Cars, right? I mean, when you talk about Strip the King Weathers and Lightning McQueen, they're both tied with 7 Piston cups. Strip Weathers, you've got about him? How do you go? You got somebody that's tied with you? You got somebody that's tied with you? Sorry, that ain't gonna work. I know you tried to catch me with that. You didn't think I knew that about that. You didn't think I knew about cars, did you?
When you think about Lightning McQueen, it's not just 7 Piston cups. He's got 28 circuits. He's got 28 circuits under his belt, too.
Strip Weathers has 7 Piston cups. I am not about to sit here and argue with a grown-ass man about the movie Cars.
Oh, come on now.
Strip Weathers has 7 Piston cups. You should have brought me somebody that didn't have as many piston cups.
Engine cars.
You really
Stephen A. Smith, ladies and gentlemen. Don't take us down, Stephen. We think you're very impressive. Is that ESPN? Where is?
He's.
I think it's on his podcast.
He has his own podcast.
Of course, it's a complete setup. He knew exactly what the call was going to be.
Of course.
It was brilliant.
But still.
Fantastic.
That's good stuff.
So good, do
you have any good...
ready?
Say again?
Production had the slides.
Do you have
they had the slides. You're right. What am I, an idiot? They actually showed video
the
from
slides.
He's queued
They're
up.
ready.
Of course.
He's queued up.
That's a kind of a giveaway, isn't it? Benito, always the great mind thinking. Always.
Benito would find it that fast. He'd be
He said, I could. Actually, probably would.
like
He does
Fred
that all
on the
time.
Howard Stern show.
Pulls stuff up right away.
Fred would do it.
And what about...
Have you had any good live callers?
Oh, God, all the time. That stuff.
Have you listened on Sunday?
I know.
We didn't...
I listen to you on Sunday, but any that are particularly stand out.
We don't screen, and so you get just... Yeah. There was the one, in fact, it's on YouTube. You can watch it. The woman who called up said, my Wi-Fi doesn't work anymore.
Just
And I'm going on with her, and it turns out, I said, well, what's the name of your Wi-Fi? She says, Linksys. I said, who's your internet service provider? She says, Linksys. I said, no, that's the name of the router. What's the name of the internet service? I don't know. I just joined Linksys, and it works. I said, that's your neighbor's Wi-Fi. They figured out that you were stealing it, and they put a password on it. It stopped working. I don't understand. Linksys. So that was one. And then there's always somebody who thinks, that somebody's in their phone and their computer, and they're spying on them and all that stuff. Those are the legitimately crazy people.
How soon do you get rid of those?
What's funny is I feel bad for them. I don't want to mock them. I don't want to hang up on them. I try to very gently kind of say, that you're probably okay. I don't think they're in there. If they're really determined that they are in there, I say, I think you're going to be all right. Here's what you do. Because, I feel for them. So I actually usually
put your computer in the freezer and you're fine.
Yeah, I'm not dismissive of them. Anyway, what's the latest on the basement eel guy? Because I'm dying to know.
The latest is the basement eel guy is doing well. Recently got some new fish. But I think along the same vines, there's another character in the underground home TikTok universe, which is the TikTok tunnel girl. Over the last year has been mining underneath her home.
That seems like a bad idea.
Creating a network of tunnels that is going to eventually be kind of like a bunker situation.
Oh, wow. My. Wow.
But she has moved thousands of pounds
She's
of
moving
stone.
Earth.
It's amazing, actually, how many people are building tunnels under their homes. This seems to be almost a trend on TikTok.
She dressed up to do it.
She's got a whole outfit. This is her life. She spent $50,000 building a tunnel underneath her home.
Now I want to build a tunnel underneath my home. I think that's, or maybe under the studio.
Hey, didn't I tell you? If he comes back building the bomb shelter.
Yeah.
Listen,
now he's interested.
He's trying to set it up like it's just something he thought of.
He's actually going to a cult meeting.
When the AGI comes, I will be prepared, and you all will be laughing.
That's what he's doing.
Out of the other side of your rubber room.
Yep, I'm telling you.
My goodness. This is
wow. I honestly think this is fascinating. There's quite a few people doing this. And I just saw
she's got to get some eels, but
I just saw a tweet from somebody who said, of course he's building a tunnel. He's a man. All men are always building tunnels. I don't know what the context was, but I thought it was kind of interesting. But here's a woman building a tunnel.
We do like to den.
Listen, women can do it all.
That's
they can
right.
Build tunnels. They can own a lot of eels. They can do math.
Is just out of curiosity, is the woman who's doing this an engineer? Does she know what she's doing? Because
she is not an engineer.
See, I'd worry about undermining the home.
I agree. I think that's probably a concern. But it does seem like she's doing a lot of the work.
Does she have a building permit?
Yeah, I think so. There's a
you don't tell the inspectors I'm digging a tunnel under my home.
But you have trucks of dirt coming out. The neighbors are going to see it.
She's got to have a permit.
The neighbors are going to see it, but will they talk?
I was building a meth lab underneath a laundromat. But that's another story.
I mean, it's good. It's got ventilation.
Yeah. And Jeff, do you have any number for us?
Well, I do, but first I want to say that LinkedIn just sent me a job recommendation. Honest to God, I saw this on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
A job posted 4 days ago.
They think you'd be perfect for it.
Media relations, corporate communications for OpenAI.
Oh my God.
Are you serious?
And they want you?
Get this.
Take it.
No, I found somebody else looked at it. So, but it's $190,000 to $240,000 a year, entry level.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my God.
And you'd never get any sleep.
No. It'd be an interesting.
So that was not my number.
You know what? If I were a PR professional, I would jump on that. I think it'd be a very interesting job. I mean, you're already.
So
lying
how do you
for some
say that the Earth is going to be destroyed?
It's just another company to lie for. I mean, I don't. What's the difference?
And they'll be cool if you're like, hey, I made everything with AI, man. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh, that's got to be a problem. You hire these people and they don't bother writing anything. They just have ChatGPT do it.
Yeah.
And then if you say, you didn't write this, ChatGPT did said, well, I work for OpenAI.
Hey, I'm endorsing our products right here.
I'm dog fooding, baby.
I'm the voice of the brand. The brand itself is the voice of the brand.
They don't. In fact, why are they hiring a PR person?
Exactly.
Someone's got to write the prompts, Someone's got to write the prompts.
It's really a prompt writer. That's what it is.
You got to take the reporters out to lunch. That's the problem.
Yeah, that's right.
So my number, my actual number, is in my anti moral panic moment. A new study from Oxford and elsewhere of 12,000 children in the United States between the ages of 9 and 12 studied and had MRIs to study their brain development and found absolutely no correlation with screen time and brain development.
All right.
Not hurting you.
All right.
Not hurting the kids.
Did they look at their social development? I mean, did they look at
the question? This was
okay. So their brain isn't shriveled.
I have other studies that have that.
Oh, really?
The American
All right.
Psychiatric Association. Don't get me started. It's in my next book. The Americans. We have a title, by the way. The Web We Weave.
Ooh, I like it.
Why we must reclaim the internet from moguls, misanthropes, and moral panic.
Can we rename this show Web Weavers? I'm looking for a new name. This Week in Google,
Okay,
obviously.
someone in the Discord suggested Alphabet Soup, which I think is kind of cute.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah.
That's still a
Or Big Tech Weekly, BTW. Both very
BTW,
cute.
Between
Big
the
Tech
Weeds.
Weekly.
Yeah.
I like Big Tech Weekly.
Big Tech Weekly. Okay. That's good. I like it.
I like Big Tech Weekly. That's.
Are you really considering changing the
There
name
is
of the
actually
show?
already a podcast called Alphabet Soup. Darn it.
Can it fit
I'm sure
within
there's
the
a
Twig
podcast
acronym,
of
though,
everything.
so we can keep everything else the same?
What does it have to fit? What?
TWIG, so we can keep everything else the same.
Oh.
This is the branding.
It should
the branding
be
guy
TWIG,
speaking.
just not This Week in Google. This Week in General.
This Week in General? Yeah. That does work.
Jammer B for the win.
Oh, that's it. That's the new name. Welcome to This Week in General.
Jammer B for the win.
Not Generals, because that's a different show entirely.
That's a different show.
Aunt Pruitt, your pick of the week.
My pick of the week, Mr. Micah Sargent and Mr. Anthony Nielsen, they put together an outstanding
this is,
review with the
great.
iPhone 15 Pro Max, and it was all shot on iPhone, and it is absolutely beautiful.
You were waiting for our iPhone 15 review. Well, here's why it took so long. We shot it on an iPhone 15.
And it's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
You
get
should
all
see
great
the
tech
rig.
information, but
Oh, my God.
these guys did a good job on this.
Anthony Nielsen, and by the way, with his own dime, bought this giant rig to do this.
Yeah, there we go.
Unbelievable.
Nice freaking
Yeah. It's just, by the way, even the pictures of the rig were shot on the iPhone 15.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
good.
It really, it's really cool. Yeah. Of course, Micah Sargent, the host, doing his review of the iPhone 15 Pro Max, and we shot it on an iPhone. Wow.
Well, check it out.
That's pretty cool. Take that, Marquez Brownlee.
My my original pick was this update, but I added that hands-on tech in because they go hand in hand. But LumaFusion was updated because now you have the USB-C on the iPhone.
Yeah.
So now you can actually edit from a solid state drive if you plug it in via USB-C on your iPhone.
So LumaFusion, which is running on your iPhone or your iPad, can then, you could shoot on your iPhone or iPad or anything onto a hard drive, plug the hard drive in, and then edit it directly from the hard drive without copying it over.
Correct.
That's a nice feature.
That's a very, very nice feature for editors on the go.
Turn on external editing. And this is a really good little program. I really like LumaFusion.
It's good stuff.
Nice. Good tip. LumaFusion 411.
Lastly, is this the bittersweet. The high school football career is over.
Oh, no.
They lost last week in the second round of the playoffs. An unbelievable game, 14-7.
In the rain.
Into the most dreadful rain. Bittersweet. I'm happy for the hardhead, but it's. I hate that it's over because I just enjoyed watching them.
They got really far.
So much. And,
they got really far.
Really good game.
What a star. Yeah, you're great.
Thank you. And I want to shout out Peak Design because y'all see all of that rain in those shots?
Yeah.
My backpack is a Peak Design backpack.
Oh, it has a little shroud that
I kept my video camera inside of my backpack because my video camera doesn't have the weather sealing like my camera does. And all of my stuff stayed dry in that rain for 2.5 hours. So yeah.
And how's he feeling?
These are beautiful shots.
Aren't they
Thank
great?
you.
Ant's such a good photographer.
Thank you. He's okay. He's fine.
Is this his last year? Or has he got one more year?
This is it. So now it's on to
college,
rehab, and track season coming up.
Oh, he's still running.
So we got track season to finish.
This kid never quits.
We got goals.
Here's a 4.
And we got the All-Star game too. Thank you, Tech
Tell the
Dino,
colleges this is a 4.0 superstar, great player, great track athlete, a great kid. looking for a school to take him under their wing.
We've sent out some apps, waiting to see if we can get accepted and all of that. But yeah,
well,
bittersweet.
He's already got a few offers, didn't he? Get a few offers. You just didn't want.
He's got one offer from, and I don't really consider it an offer because it's from Navy, and the way their scholarship works is you get your funding to attend a school,
but then you got to serve 2 years.
But then you got to
right?
serve. No, it ain't 2.
How many years?
It's 4.
Yeah.
So it's really not a scholarship if you still end up serving.
Yeah.
You know.
Is that the Naval Academy?
Yes.
Pretty good, huh?
Yeah.
It ain't bad.
Wow.
I know.
Yeah.
It's pretty impressive.
But so he's declined that, but he's working on other stuff in track. But like I say, we've already put out some college applications this week and going to go from there.
All right, Jacob, we love you. We know you're going to do great in college. You're a superstar, and any college would be so lucky to have him.
Because Dad can't pay for it.
Yeah, Dad's broke, so will you please put up some money?
College is expensive for everybody.
Tell me about it.
Good.
I know. I know. That's why kids go into such debt, and you don't want Jacob to start his life with hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt.
Nope.
I think you're good.
That's why I like teaching at a state school.
Yeah.
Tech Dino, Fresno State would be great, but they're flirting. That's all it is.
I don't like the flirting. I don't dig the flirting.
It's all flirting.
All right.
Commit, baby.
I'm going to call Admiral Nimitz and say he's got to give you a better deal.
Do that.
Yeah. Thank you for joining us this week in general every Wednesday, 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern, 2200 UTC. If we are, so it's complicated and it's hard for me to describe. We are streaming live on YouTube during the show. We don't do pre and post show, but just the show itself. Go to youtube.com/twit and you'll see the live stream for all the shows when we are streaming it. And that's when we are producing the show. There's no more reruns, no more interstitial stuff, just the shows. But you can watch them there. And in fact, if you click that bell, I think it'll send you a notification when we go live.
It will.
So that way you'll know. Oh, they're turned on the cameras. Of course, most people watch after the fact because it's a podcast. You can download This Week in General from twit.tv/twig. You're so smart. This is so good, Benito. Twit.tv/twig. You can also subscribe in your favorite podcast player. We like Pocket Cast. Subscribe and you'll get it automatically. There's even a YouTube channel, This Week in Google. We got to fix that at youtube.com. That's where the video also is. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Don't forget the club. We love your club members. And if you're not yet a member, twit.tv/clubtwit. $7 a month gets you ad-free versions of all the shows. I hope you have a wonderful Thanksgiving. And I will see you a week from yesterday. 2 weeks from yesterday. That's very confusing.
I will be gone that week. I won't see you for 2 weeks.
I won't see you for 3 weeks.
Yeah, it'll be 3 for you, Mr. Jarvis, if that's the case.
I'll be here.
I'll be back for the old folks, the old fart
December
show.
7th. Yeah, don't forget. We're going to do our...
Flying back from Vienna just for that.
Oh, thank you.
Outstanding.
You should do it in Vienna. You could have a little soccer tour. It'd be snowing.
But you're doing it at 5 o'clock at night, Eastern time.
Yeah.
When you start.
No, that ain't Eastern time.
No, Pacific time. It's 8 p.m. your time.
8 p.m. That's
in
what
Vienna, it's like 1 in the morning. Yeah, okay.
Never mind. No, you don't want that. Is it old fart? No, I'm too old.
Okay, well, December 7th. Now, that's club members only. It'll be aired December 24th, Christmas Eve. It's our little Christmas Eve gift to you on that Sunday.
I'm looking forward to it.
Paris, thank you so much for being on Twit last Sunday, by the way. Really was great to have you on.
So fun. There was lots of news to talk about.
Yeah.
You reported so much today. Great work, Paris.
Great piece. Everybody should read her TikTok on the information.
And I used my gift link to recommend the piece highly on all my social platforms.
Oh, perfect.
Nice. It was okay.
So
Great.
if you go to buzzmachine.com or follow Jeff on Twitter or wherever else has Mastodon, you'll see a link to the article there that you can read because it's a gift link. Nice. Thank you, Jeff, for doing. I didn't even think of doing that because I am a bastard.
You believe in the sanctity of the paywall.
I think the paywall should stand. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We'll see you next time on This Week in General. Bye-bye.
This Week in General.
I love it.
I think you need a little beat in it. This Week in General.
In general.
Come join us on This Week in Enterprise Tech. Expert co-hosts and I talk about the enterprise world, and we're joined by industry professionals and trailblazers like CEOs, CIOs, CTOs, CISOs, every acronym role, plus IT pros and marketeers. And we talk about technology, software plus services, security, you name it, everything under the sun. You know what? I learn something each and every week, and I bet you will too. So definitely join us. And of course, check out the twit.tv website and click on This Week in Enterprise Tech to subscribe today.